Hello and welcome. I'm anti-derivative Jill, and this is Indefinite Lunch in Infinite Combinations, number 27. Today I'm joined with pop culture curator and Scotty R37 to review the next episode in production order, the Corbomite Maneuver. So how are you guys doing today?
I am stellar.
Great.
Likewise, I'm doing fantastic. I'm so excited. Thank you for having me here, Jill. I can't wait.
You're welcome.
And hello to
And
everybody to the chat. I wanted to say hello, Raymond.
yeah, hello to Raymond Feliciano in the chat. He has a
Ahoy.
channel called King Dolphin TV. And hello also to Claude Parrish. Yeah.
And hello
It's
to you,
on. Everybody
Scotty.
pull up your pants.
And
Hey, pop
Hello-
culture.
And hello, Captain.
yes, hello, Captain Time Lord Spock.
Ahoy, Captain.
And also hello to Gorilla's Random Thoughts.
Hail,
Great to see you
Gorilla.
guys. Also,
Gorilla's
Gap After
working and
Dark.
lurking. Hello, Gap.
I hope everyone is having a phantasmagoric day.
Oh yes. Speaking of which, that's very similar to the name of your channel. So everyone remember to subscribe to the Phantasmagorium Show by Scotty R37 and his friends.
Thank
I
you
hope
for
you don't
hitting the
think I
like
was
button,
fishing.
Claude.
No, but I do that at the beginning of my show anyway. So
Fair enough.
I was just rolling into that. You're going to review maybe a less good Tarantino movie, but it's not really a Tarantino movie.
It's Tarantino adjacent, yes. But we'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end. And then also subscribe to Pop Culture Curator. We're discussing the animated series on his channel every Monday.
Which is
And
such a blast. And pop culture curator, you've been so gracious to allow me to come and play and talk about the animated series. As I've mentioned before, I haven't really watched a lot of it. And so this is all brand new to me. And being introduced to new Star Trek stories, as long as they're good, which they have been so far, is really awesome.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for being there. And yeah, I think as long as we stick with TOS, at least in my opinion, you won't be disappointed. There may be a few episodes that are a little slow, but generally, I think you'll be happy.
Yay.
mhm. and speaking of that, next week we're going to be discussing the Lorelei signal, and we missed out on being able to show the trailer on the show yesterday, so I'm going to play it now.
Thank you.
So next week, this is the animated series episode you'll be able to see a review of on Pop Culture Curator's channel at 7 p.m. Central.
Oh, both of us, $1 I am experiencing audio-visual suggestion, Captain. So am I. Magnolias in blossom. Beautiful.
Oh, such wondrous ones. They honor us. I am Thela, the head female. Welcome, James Kirk. Soon all the men on your ship will feel as you do. They are all needed, and they will join us.
I want an all-woman security team on every transporter immediately.
What are you doing?
Taking command of this ship. Release Captain Kirk and his men, or we will destroy your temple.
They're drowning. Where are they?
Yeah, that's going to be fun next Monday to go over that.
Well,
Yes, thank you for showing that, Jill. I appreciate it.
It's fun that next week's episode of the animated series is when Uhura gets to take command of the Enterprise, and today is, if I'm not mistaken, in the Corbomite Maneuver first appearance of Nyota Uhura.
That's right. Yes, today is the very first time we get to see Nichelle Nichols play Uhura. And
In
also,
Command Gold, oddly enough.
yeah,
It's like
cool.
I realized that too. It's like they hadn't quite
Yes,
gotten the color scheme down quite yet, or maybe ranks. Maybe she hadn't been promoted yet. Scotty's in
No,
red.
she is lieutenant. He does. Kirk does call her Lieutenant Uhura right off the hop.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and hello in the chat to Son of a Red Shirt.
Son of a
Hail,
red
son of a
shirt.
red shirt. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing well, sir.
And Captain Time Lord Spock says Chekhov is on holiday.
Yeah, maybe he hasn't graduated high school yet.
Well, I don't even want to talk about it until we get to Space Seed.
Yeah. So, for reference to the production of these episodes, all the facts that I share, will come from the Star Trek 365 book. Although I didn't integrate that many of these. There weren't that many facts for this episode, but whatever facts I do have are from this book. And the idea to use that text comes from my friend Raquel Briggs, who you can find on Clobberin Times channel. So subscribe to Clobberin Times and read Raquel's amazing science fiction stories.
Looking forward.
Yes. And today we review the Corbomite Maneuver as it is next in production order. Before we begin the review, there's a nice description here, a little description for Dr. McCoy, because this is also the first time we get to see DeForest Kelley play Dr. McCoy.
Yes, if I read correctly, I'm referring to Inside Star Trek, the real story by Herb Solow and Robert Justman. That this was produced pretty much after they knew they had sealed the deal and the show was accepted. It looks like Star Trek and Mission Impossible were sold as a package deal to CBS, and they were both picked up at the same time. They were pretty much made and produced right next door to each other at the same time as Mission Impossible. And from what I'm reading, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'll have a little known trivia fact I'll bring up later on. It looks like the budget for the episodes were at the time right around $200,000 per episode, which was considered expensive for television. Most series around that time per hour long were about $180,000 apparently.
Interesting.
And the reason why they went from the laser guns or the guns we mentioned in the first, like the Cage, for example, to the phasers we're used to, it was Roddenberry who said he thought the first ones looked like toys. So that's why he said to get rid of them, and they went through Hua Cheng, which is a whole different story. I guess, I don't know if you guys heard of Hua Cheng, the designer of a lot of the props and creature effects. He basically had, him and Justman had came from Outer Limits. So they were both on, that's why if you'll notice a lot of the design for the creatures are similar to Outer Limits and Star Trek are kind of the same because they're done by Hua Cheng. And when Hua Cheng was picked aboard for, sorry, did you have something?
No, I was surprised.
Okay. Oh, that's fine.
Said, oh.
And apparently when Roddenberry wanted Hua Cheng because what Roddenberry was getting by the regular prop departments looked like garbage. They couldn't do anything with detail. Hello, Dalek, by the way. Welcome.
Dalek!
Hi, Dalek. How are you doing?
Hi, Jill.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Probably take that off for you're gonna have to do some
take a chill pill, Dalek. Dalek sounds all worked up. Maybe he's been chased after some humans or something.
Yeah, right.
I like your new voice, Dalek.
You do?
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I really wanted to make you jump, Jill.
Oh, okay. Well, it was definitely surprising.
And Son of a Red Shirt said, didn't Hua Cheng design the Gorn? Yes, he did. He also designed the Tribbles.
And also the puppet for this episode.
Balok, yes, the puppet.
Okay.
And he also, by the way, he designed, I don't know if anybody's aware of the George Powell movie, The Time Machine. He designed The Time Machine. He worked on that movie.
Oh,
and
wow.
His art department won an Academy Award for the special effects of that movie, like for the time sequence where he was in the solarium, and you can see the sun changing and revolving, and the time on the clock changing, and the candles melting. That sequence won an Academy Award, and that was Hua Cheng's department working on that. But due to racism at the time, he was left out of the credits.
Oh no, that's
so. He had a lot of racism going against him. When he introduced when Gene Roddenberry went to him and said, "Oh, I want you to design the props for the show," which he was talking about originally, the tricorder and the communicator.
Hmm.
What Wachang gave him is what the ones we've seen, and then they complained. Studio complained and said because apparently word leaked out, and workers complained because Wachang was not in the union for prop makers and designers, so they said he cannot do things for the show. So he applied for the union, and the union turned him down because they said that his prop work was too highly detailed, and it would make the other workers look bad,
You're too talented.
too talented, and it looks too good. So they had to
That
kind of
that is horrible to be fired because you're making the rest of the production team look bad.
right. It should be to fire them, and how about hire him? And does he have a team of people? Is what I would say, right?
Well, luckily, Gene hired him anyway.
Hmm.
Yep, that's what unions are for. Yeah, no, well, just like he went up to bat for DeForest Kelly, he'd been fighting to get
Hmm.
him as Dr. McCoy the whole time.
Hmm.
But when the show was picked up, and when studio said, okay, we'll take it, they added it to their fall season. It actually had to move studios. They actually had to dismantle the set and move it from one studio to another. And they had trouble. I was just reading here that when they filmed the first two episodes that we've seen, is they had trouble getting the camera around and certain logistics and getting good angles and things like that and lighting. So when they moved the set from one studio to another, when they knew they were going to have to be shooting on it 6 days a week, that's when they made the set in sections so they could move walls out of the way in order to add lights or to put crew in there. And also, I guess the whole set was in three sections, like a lower section, and then a mid section, and then an upper section. So the lower section was like the kick panels, the middle section was like the consoles where they push the buttons, and the upper sections are like those viewing screens that you can see. And they went through the effort of making everything was compartmentalized so that you can move a section, like remove the top, and the consoles wouldn't stop working. The lights and everything would function. Or you can
Okay.
move a whole section of walls away, and it wouldn't affect the electricity on the other ones. So it
They're
was actually
modulated.
yes, it was actually very sophisticated for the time. Sorry, go ahead,
Cool.
Jill. Continue.
Oh, that's fine. Well, before we begin, I wanted to read the description page from the book for Dr. McCoy, who we first see in this episode. So, Dr. Leonard Bones McCoy, played by DeForest Kelly. Dr. McCoy is senior ship's surgeon of the USS Enterprise, head of the medical department. As such, he has medical responsibilities for the health and welfare of the crew of the Enterprise and broad medical science responsibilities in areas of space exploration. Bones McCoy is one man who can approach is the one man who can approach Captain Kirk on the most intimate personal levels relating to the captain's physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Indeed, he has the absolute duty to constantly keep abreast of the captain's condition and speak out openly to Kirk on this matter. McCoy is a very, very outspoken character with more than a little cynical bite in his attitudes and observations on life. He has an acid wit, which results in sometimes shocking statements, which, under close scrutiny, carry more than a grain of truth about medicine, man, and society. Of all the men aboard our ship, McCoy is the least military. He is filled with idiosyncrasies which fit the character and are his trademark. McCoy is highly practical in the old general practitioner sense. Hates pills, except when they are vitally needed. Is not above believing that a little suffering is good for the soul.
I never
McCoy
said
is
that.
McCoy is 45 years of age, was married once, something of a mystery that ended unhappily in divorce. He has a daughter, Joanna, who is 20 and in training as a nurse somewhere. We suspect that it was the bitterness of this marriage and divorce which turned McCoy to the space services. He was born in Georgia in the United States and can be something of a gallant Southern gentleman in social life, particularly with females. When the moment is right, a trace of his southern accent will be heard. From the Star Trek's Writer's Guide, third revision, dated April 17th, 1967.
Yeah,
Well, and
I'd say
sorry,
that
Pop.
that definitely encompasses his role. They couldn't have picked a better actor. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, don't apologize. They couldn't have picked a better actor. This was actually because up until this point, really, if I remember correctly, everyone else is using texts, and I'm just using my absolutely unreliable noggin, and I apologize for that. Call it emotional and human, something that Dr. McCoy would appreciate. But up until then, he was mostly playing heavies in westerns, and it wasn't
Right.
until uh, I don't want to say which military conflict, but he did go to military conflict, and that's what sort of derailed his career for a while. But he was a rising star in films such as Shootout at the OK or Gunfight at the OK Corral with Kirk Douglas and Burt Lancaster. And he had previously worked with Gene Roddenberry on The Lieutenant, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was in the.
Right, Gene Roddenberry brought a lot of people from the Lieutenant over. In fact, the guy that played Gary Mitchell starred in the Lieutenant.
Mr. Lockwood. Well, and also Nichelle Nichols was in the and Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, correct.
And I'm not
Mabel
sure
Barrett.
was James Doohan in the. I don't know off the top of my head. So
I
I'll
had to
stop
dig a
asking
little deeper
questions.
to find out, but I would not be surprised.
I
I
just
don't
knew that
know.
they had a
I
long-lasting
actually I've never
relationship.
watched the Lieutenant.
Nor have I, but I've heard so much about it. But it's one of those television series that is sort of lost to time in terms of
Yeah,
distribution.
from what I've heard, there's only one episode available. Sad. It didn't survive past one season. Dallas.
Son of a red shirt says, "Someone give Dalek a throat lash."
Ricola!
And hello in the chat to JD Lewis.
Hello, JD.
Happy Tuesday.
Claude says there's a few episodes available.
Oh, then I'll check it out. Thanks, Claude.
Yeah,
Maybe-
2 episodes on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm surprised with Roddenberry's popularity that they haven't released a DVD.
Lost. It's very funny.
Hmm.
See, it's funny because you have a Dalek puppet in front of you, but really you're but an 8-year-old an 8-year-old boy. Have some Tranya.
So I still have I don't have the original graphics yet. So we're going with the remastered again this week.
Well, I wanted to mention that just
Fine.
before we begin because I'm watching on Netflix. I do have the Blu-rays, but I don't have them. It's a shared situation with the rest of my family, so I don't have the discs. I was watching on Netflix. This is one of those episodes that I kind of appreciate the remastered effects.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know
Yeah, I like them. They look good.
Right. I think the difference I was thinking about too with the remastered effects is because we get some really good close-ups of the ship, and you can see more detail. In the previous episodes, there just wasn't that much detail in the ship.
Kind of like a yellow golf ball.
But well, you can see the panels, right, and you can see inside the windows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you guys are going to be the experts on how it originally looks because I still need to watch it.
In terms of the remastering, one of the things that the remaster special effects people did was to try and emulate the shots as much as possible, because at that time they had remastered the original trilogy of Star Wars, and one of the things that the Star Trek team said is that we're not looking to upgrade, we're not looking to add things, we just want, well, they are looking to upgrade, but they aren't looking to modify the spirit of the show or try and add Easter eggs or things like that. It was a matter of cleaning it up, which I thought was an interesting distinction between, and one of many, between Star Trek and Star Wars, is that Star Trek was trying to honor the original as opposed to Star Wars trying to upgrade, if you will.
Absolutely. That's probably why I've never seen the original because I trusted the remastered because no one's ever told me that, oh, it's so wrong, you shouldn't watch it like that, you know. Otherwise I would know better because the other Trekkies would tell me.
I think it's an improvement, but I enjoy going back and checking out the original yearbook as well.
Yeah, and I need to do that too. And so we start this episode with Spock at the con here. The Enterprise has been working on constructing star maps. From some from
And
taking photographs of the region.
And this is our third design of the costumes so far, right? Uniforms.
yes. Third? Yes.
Yep, third. And it's
And,
like it's almost there. That Spock's color is a little thick, and the colors, it looks like all they have so far is blue and the gold.
But his
Scotty's still wearing red.
Yeah,
Well,
Scotty's
Scotty's wearing red, but the other ones, crew members, are blue and gold. But
Mhm.
right, as Jill was getting ready to say, I think you were talking about Spock.
Oh yeah, I was going to say the collar may be thick, but his eyebrows are not anymore.
Right,
And now he's gorgeous the way he should be.
right. This is the first episode where this is Spock. They got the eyes and the ears just right. I think it's the tweaking. They got him tweaked just right.
Yes.
And wait, before we move on, look who it is besides
Hi.
Spock.
Cardinal Sin. Hi, Cardinal Sin.
Oh, Cardinal Sin, of course, ahoy. But we have Mr. Bailey.
Yeah.
Mr. And I have an interesting theory about Mr. Bailey.
Oh, you do?
But not yet.
Okay, not yet. Okay. JD Lewis in the chat says, this was originally intended to be a money-saving bottle show, but the special effects ended up being so complex and costly that it was aired 2 months after it premiered. Wow. And hello in the chat to Matt G.
Ahoy, Matt G.
And of course, these star charts they're making are of space that has been unexplored until now. But their scientific survey is interrupted when an object at light speed begins hurtling at the Enterprise. And it slows and stops right in front of the ship, but changes direction so that the ship cannot escape its path.
Well, I think it went better than the next time the Enterprise encountered a cube.
Well, yeah, that'll be a while from now.
Yeah, a couple 100 years. Or 100 years.
And here's Bailey's first outburst. He kind of, I mean, it really wasn't that. This one wasn't as bad. He just raised his voice a bit, saying, "It's blocking the way."
Yeah, I think from what Bones is hinting later, he's a little inexperienced. I guess he's younger than the rest of them.
Yeah, he's a little green apparently. At which, so we get Spock saying, "Quite unnecessary to raise your voice, Mr. Bailey."
After Spock raised his, or just a few minutes ago, and will again.
He does that, and he does that throughout the episode because they still don't have his personality quite right. But you notice that his smile gets smaller each episode.
Yes, there's like there's just like a faint of a smile. But it's funny because before this, he was raising his voice, and he tells this guy, "No need to raise your voice." And then after this, he raises his voice again. So okay.
Yeah.
Hello, Matt G. Good to see you.
Absolutely. Gold Uhura. Yeah, she looks great in any color.
Uhura is gold.
Oh, she even has matching lipstick, if you notice. And I noticed when Yeoman Rand comes in, she's wearing a red suit and red lipstick. So that's nice. They have the lipstick matching their uniform.
I didn't notice the yellow or the gold lipstick on Uhura.
Well, it's brown. It's kind of brown, but it kind of blends in. Gold would be a little too bright. Doesn't have the glitter, but you'll see when you see Uhura's lips. You'll see the difference, especially in the scenes where her and Yeoman Rand are right next to each other. Pretty much, you can tell.
So Cloaker says Bailey was an interesting character. He stood out because he was overly emotional. Even Sulu was chill the whole time.
Sulu is having a blast during this episode.
Mhm.
It is awesome to see George Takei in this episode, and it just reminds me why I love Hikaru.
He had a good role in this. His role, there's so many episodes where he gets very few lines. So I'd say this was one of his chances to shine.
And also, isn't this the first time that we get the space, the final frontier?
Yes, yes. This is the Alexander Courage. I think this is the first one we get the right song and the. Well, I think did we get the speech last time?
I
I don't
don't think
know.
we got the speech in the first episode, or
Yeah, I
in
don't
sorry,
know.
in Where No Man Has Gone Before. I didn't I don't think so.
We might have gotten that, but not the song was different. I'm not
Once
sure.
again, I am using my drug-addled noggin to recollect things. I apologize for having no reference material.
Yeah, and I might be getting sick, so I may be a little addled myself. So, but this is definitely the first time we get the song,
Mhm.
the music. And meanwhile, we find out why Captain Kirk's not on the bridge. Because he's busy undergoing a physical with Dr. McCoy. This is our first look at him. And he's putting Kirk through the physical. And the first thing we see him do is completely ignore red alert.
Well, and it's interesting. His vital signs are being read on the monitor that's on the bed next to him.
Hmm.
Oh, it's not called alert yet.
Oh, what is it called?
Um, Condition, because I was thinking about that too. They don't have the red alert. They didn't call it red alert. I have to go back and watch it again. I should have written that down. I made a mental note of it, and I didn't write it down. Condition alert, I think is what they called it. Yeah, condition alert.
Well, they're going to call it red alert, so I'm going to call it red alert anyway.
Well, yeah, that's fine.
So after McCoy finishes with the physical, Kirk notices immediately the red alert and goes to a monitor to learn everything we already know about, the objects not letting the Enterprise go anywhere. And Kirk asks McCoy why he didn't tell him about the red alert. And he says it's because he's finally been able to finish a physical with Captain Kirk. And
And I like McCoy's sort of personal aside, and it's like if I responded to every blinking light in this place, I'd end up talking to myself.
yes, exactly. And that had me cracking up because
Yeah, me too.
yes,
And you know what's fascinating too is for DeForest Kelly. If you didn't know this was his first episode, the way he plays the character and fits right into it, you'd think he had done this for years.
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, this is the first time we get sort of a I'm a doctor, not a, but it's close. It's close enough. He says, "What am I, a doctor or a moon shuttle conductor?"
Right. Well, in this episode, we get his humor and we get his doubt and the way he
Mhm.
confronts Kirk, and then we get his regret. We get a lot of emotion from him in this one episode. I think it's great.
I think so too. And I see exactly why. My very first live stream was about him, and I don't know. I must have underestimated him before or whatever, but
Hmm.
starting my channel made me realize just how much I love Dr. McCoy.
I know. It seems like he was a fatherly figure,
Hmm.
sorely missed.
See, I love Captain Kirk. I love Mr. Spock, but I would have to say, and obviously I love Scotty because anybody named after Scotty is, a friend of mine. But my favorite character in the original series, flat out across the board, Leonard H. McCoy.
Yeah, and I can
Yeah,
understand that.
I would agree with that. And by the way, that hallway scene we just saw a glimpse of. Get used to that hallway and the people inside. You'll see them a few times.
Okay.
I
And
do like that. It reminds me of Trials and Tribulations when it's like they used to pack them in on these old Constitution class.
And Gorilla says in this episode, it's called Red Alarm. Red Alarm. And hello to the nerdporeal life form. Try to cross brains with anti-derivative Jill. She will tear you to pieces every time.
Yep, that's true.
What am I, a nerdporeal or a moon shuttle conductor? so he's just quoting here. What are you, robots? So that's something that Bailey will say later. And hello,
Ahoy, Edge of Time.
Edge of Time.
Yeah, great to see you, Edge of Time. Welcome. Glad you could all be here to join us.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nerd Boyle says, Curator, you are relieved.
Okay,
Not really,
sir.
though. Well, yeah, you'd be fine with that because McCoy's going to escort you to your quarters.
And what's great too is he's not as old as the doctors in the first two episodes, so it kind of fit more in. Thank goodness too, because he had a lot more longevity, right?
Yeah, he was just 10 years older.
Yeah.
And McCoy was 45 and Kirk was 34 in this episode. And hello in the chat to the Mr. Brown Lions. Great to see you here.
Hail,
Mr.
Mr. Brown.
And J. Lewis says, you can tell this is early first season. The hallways are crowded. And
Oh, and also
Nerd
just a brief aside
Sure,
for Mr.
sure.
Brown. On Sunday, he had
Mr.
Call Me
Brown?
Chatto, and that was a great stream. I think it. Congratulations, that was a great interview, and I'm glad you guys got to talk with him. I'm jealous.
Oh, cool. And Nerd Pearl says to Claude Parrish, technically in the Star Trek timeline, McCoy was born in 2227, so he'd be 39. What? Oh, okay. Well, I guess Claude was saying the chronological age in real life. And then Nerd Pearl saying the in-universe age. Neat. So Kirk makes his way to the bridge, but the status
he's
with
still-
the object...
Sorry, he's still wearing his little blue booties from the physical too. I thought that was adorable. He's carrying his boots, but he's got the little blue socks on from when he was doing the pump thing on the physical.
And we
I
can
didn't
see
notice
the
that.
and the upgrade of the turbo shaft. You can see it's different from the last episode. The floor level or the level deck level indicators has changed, and now we have the handle and the voice control.
I did have one question about the voice control though, because like this doesn't make sense. So he goes, he says, "I'm going to the bridge." He turns the handle, says "bridge," and then he talks to Spock and says, "I'm going to go get changed first." So he obviously didn't go to the bridge, and then later on he does the handle thing and he's like, "Captain's quarters," and it's like, no, that's not how that works. You have to go to the deck, Jim.
I always wondered, do you have to hold that handle?
You don't have to hold it. You just got to twist it so that the voice activation works.
That's what I thought. That's why I wonder why he holds on to it. Why wouldn't you just say, bridge or whatever, and then let go of it? But I don't know. Or
Well,
just
kind of like the
activate
same
it?
way where you use the stairway handles, even though you don't need it.
Stability.
Well, you got to grab it anyway to get the computer to recognize the fact that you want a destination, and so you might as well hang on to it, and then he lets it go to activate the communicator, the wall panel.
Yeah.
Oh, Nerdporial Lifeform in the chat says, I always found the timeline Okuda made with the chronology in the encyclopedia kinda off. McCoy and Scotty are both 46 in this episode if you're going off of their real ages.
It's cool to see. He also says it's cool to see the lines moving to show the turbolift moving.
I agree, especially ones where you can see them going up and down, and it'll switch and go side to side, so you can really get the feel of it moving throughout the ship.
Claude says, I think Paul Fix's Dr. Mark Piper would have been good, but we got the best doctor / moon shuttle conductor, bricklayer, salad shooter, technician, etc. Yeah. And don't get escalated.
Right, even John Hoyt would have been good. They were great actors, the first two doctors. But maybe it was the age difference. In our minds, we're thinking of all these different reasons, but in reality, just remember Gene Roddenberry wanted DeForest Kelley from the very beginning. So It wasn't until the show was greenlit and they said, "Okay, Gene, you've got to do whatever you want." And he said, "Good, I'm bringing in DeForest Kelley."
I'm so glad he did what he wanted.
Yep,
and
he held out.
Mr. Brown says, Scotty, maybe a She-Hulk episode 3 incoming. You're welcome to join us.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'll take you up on that offer, and I'm sure that you'll take me out to the monkey bars and beat me senseless for enjoying such trash.
And the nerd portal life form says to Claude, if only they gave him more to do in WNMHD.
Where no man has gone before.
Oh dear. All right.
Bacon!
Bacon. And nerd portal to Claude, you forgot engineer. And now you're an engineer. Mirror, mirror. Yeah.
No, that's a great episode. So anyway, Kirk is topless, headed to the bridge, but not.
Yeah, right. God. I'm sorry, my brain is kind of off today.
Still better than most, though. So anyway, Sulu is quietly judging Bailey.
Yeah, look at that sly look that Sulu's giving him, right?
Oops.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, Kirk's making his way to the bridge, but the status with the object's unchanged. There's no life signs, and they can't hail anyone. And Bailey agrees that he'll have the cube's range and position by the time Kirk gets on the bridge. But he also tries to explain his louder voice earlier and how it was related to his adrenal gland. So then Spock has a great response. It does sound... What's that? What's that sound?
We're getting feedback.
I believe it's an atmospheric disturbance from the planet Skaro, Captain.
Sorry.
Well, anyway, Bailey says it was his adrenal gland, and so Spock says, it does sound most inconvenient, however. Have you considered having it removed?
When Sulu has the perfect response, and I think it was Nerdporial, or I forget who said it in the chat, but try and cross brains with Spock, he'll cut you to pieces.
Mm-hmm. And he did.
Nerdporial, Sulu eyeing Bailey? Oh my. Yes. That
so
is,
was that a joke? Would that be Spock saying a joke?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, maybe, or maybe not. You know, maybe he doesn't really know human biology that well. And so if he sees something as an inconvenience, maybe he's being totally serious. If that's a problem for you, you should probably get rid of that.
He's a science officer, not a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably learning things all the time. I don't know. Captain Time Lord Spock says, Mirror Mirror is the best Star Trek episode of all time. Well, we'll get to that.
Well,
you know you're going to...
The later series. I think
Dalek, I love you very much, Dalek, but I had to mute you. I'm so sorry. I was about to die.
I think Dalek is in distress.
So that means that there's a doctor in the vicinity.
Oh, you muted me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm glad you were able to unmute yourself. It was a whole lot of static was occurring, and so I apologize. Yeah, I'm sorry too that I had to mute. But you sound better now.
That's because I turned the filter off.
Okay.
Thank you.
Transmissions are being jammed. Let them eat static, says Nerdporial. He's addressing Bailey's excuse of the adrenal gland. Was that a Dalek fart? Yes, I push the button. I only do it when I have to. When there's usually just when technical difficulties occur, not because of any other reason.
It's like that episode with it's Court Martial. It's like with Finney. The only reason you push the button is because it's exactly the right thing to do at that moment, and you would do it again.
Yes, exactly. And so Kirk finally arrives on the bridge here, just a little bit. But yeah, you're right. Sulu is having a lot of fun in this episode.
Well, but Sulu's also like really picking up the slack on Bailey. Like, Bailey is not doing his job at all. He is
Hmm.
distracted. He is emotional. He's not relying on the rest of the crew, and he's not really following orders.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, it sounds like you just described the entire cast of Discovery.
Oh, wait, it gets better, my dude.
Hmm.
So,
So
anyway, this is the introduction.
yeah, Kirk arrives on the bridge, and Bailey says the cube is 1,593 meters away, and Sulu says that each side of the object is 107 meters, weighing in at 11,000 metric tons. So give us a scale. Mr. Scott cannot say how this thing is powered at all, so he doesn't have any idea how this thing moves.
I like the
He
way he
just
says it, too. I like it's like I buy theory at this point, and
Mhm,
Scotty says, if I had any to sell.
mhm. Yeah, he just knows that it mimics movement, and McCoy agrees with that assessment.
Look at
And
that
Bailey,
handsome devil. Come on.
as the current navigator, just wants to blast it away. And Kirk has a great line here. I'll keep that in mind, Mr. Bailey, when this becomes a democracy.
Aha! There you go, Discovery.
Well, and this is also this is snowballing. Is that what? Remember the Vulcan hello, the first episode or the second episode of Discovery, and how does Michael Burnham treat adversity? Well, you got to shoot him. You shoot him.
Yeah, yeah.
Michael
And
Burnham is absolutely informed by the irrational, illogical, uncooperative nature of Lieutenant Bailey or Ensign Bailey. I'm not sure what his rank is. Mr. Bailey.
well, even in
Mhm.
Strange New Worlds, I mean, they all go around interrupting the captain and ordering him and telling him what to do, right?
Yeah, you'll be my expert on that because
Well, I'm
I
not an
tried to
expert, but
forget it as
I
soon
just
as I
know from
could.
bird. Yeah, I just know from bird reviews, and but yeah, from what I hear on Strange New Worlds, I guess the captain is constantly rebutted and argued with and told what to do, and proven
Oh,
everybody's proven that they're smarter than him, and it's like that just doesn't sound very entertaining to me.
oh yeah, no, yeah. The actual captain was number one. So yeah, I agree with that assessment of that show.
So then in the conference room, we have Spock saying that there are two alternatives as to which the cube could be.
Yeah, the object has kept the ship in one spot for 18 hours, and they have a briefing where Spock suggests that it's either a buoy or flypaper. And again, Bailey has a trigger finger, and when Captain is calling for action, Bailey immediately calls for the phaser crew to
Yeah.
get ready. And Kirk has to correct him as to what type of action he'd like.
Yeah, that was funny. He'd fire, fire. He wants to get in there and start firing.
yeah. Yeah, he reminds me of a proto Worf.
Oh, I wouldn't even give him that much credit. Like if you
No.
check out, like you can see, even though it's on, you only see obscured Sulu and the profile of Uhura, and both of them, Sulu and Uhura, are looking at Bailey like, the shit did you just do?
Yeah, right. Well,
Well, every
yeah,
time he does something stupid, he makes them look better. So
yeah, exactly. But yeah, Worf is actually obviously better, but it's just kind of the action, the inclination towards attack is what I was going for. What Kirk really wants to do is try to plot a spiral course away from the cube.
Another thing that this points out too is there is no place anywhere on this ship for emotional people. This is another thing that the new Trek does not seem to get. It's the opposite. Everybody is over emotional on the new shows.
I
And
don't
they'll
think
never
it's a
get,
matter. I don't think it's a matter of emotion. I think it's a matter of protocol. I think it's a matter of being in a workplace and adhering to your job.
Oh, it is here in Star. Oh, yeah. With this, yes, it is. And it's a matter of doing your duty. By doing your duty, everybody stays safe. We don't need everybody being an emotional wreck and crying every week. And that just seems what the new Trek is all about.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I just find that boring.
And nerdporeal life form is absolutely correct. Anson Mounts Pike is more of a friend boss than an actual captain. And I agree.
So like Michael Scott.
Right, which means they don't
But that
respect
is
him.
funny.
Which means they don't respect his authority.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Time Lord Spock says that he agrees with you, pop culture.
Thank you, Captain.
And yeah, Akiva Goldsman. Yep.
Yeah,
That
Akiva
guy
Goldsman is a
That guy needs to
terrible.
stop making shows.
He does. He
That guy-
ruined the Lost in Space movie, and now he's working on Star Trek. I can't believe it. Talk about failing upwards.
Akiva Goldsman wrote Batman and Robin. Anyway, moving on.
Point made. Nerdporo Lifeform says Jeffrey Hunter's Pike would have shut that down. And also he says Bailey got promoted too fast. McCoy calls Kirk out on it. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, and I agree with this assessment here with Claude Parrish. Uhura looks tired all the time in this one. Yeah, she kind of does look a little sleepy.
Maybe a little lost. She hasn't quite found her character yet.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, what am I doing here? but definitely she improves. I mean, there's really nothing to improve. She's perfect, but you know what I mean.
It's her first day on the job.
Right.
Well, I
Captain
wouldn't even go
Timer
that far. I
says-
would say this is an 18-hour workday.
Mhm.
They have been held by the cube for 18 hours. None of them have slept.
Yeah, that's true. That's another good point. Possibly this was part of her performance. And
That's
Yeah.
true.
Shit.
Look at Sulu's hair, right? Looks like he's kind of roughed up. So, yeah, maybe it's been an 18-hour shift for them. So, I guess they're not
Yeah.
allowed to be relieved by other officers while something's happening.
and
Maybe because they're.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, that's true. And that's what McCoy keeps trying to say throughout the whole episode. The crew's tired. And Kirk is ignoring him. And Captain Time Lord Spock says Bailey's is better with ice. I used to eat Bailey's with ice cream.
Really?
Yeah.
An edge of time, absolutely. Decorum. Agreed. That is, it's a civility that happens between coworkers as opposed to the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one, I suppose. Someone said that. I forget who.
Spock will say it. And
Oh,
Mr.
that's
Brown?
where I heard it.
says, Spock, here's a quote for you. An absolutely deplorable excuse for a human being. You're welcome. And King Dolphin says, oh, wait until she has Akiba in mind for Cisco. No, okay. See, that's a rumor. We don't know this is true.
We'll address
Cis-
that at the end of the episode.
yeah. Well, I don't know what to address. I haven't heard the rumor except through Raymond. I don't know where
Well,
it
let's
comes
discuss
from.
the hypothesis at the end.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Time Lord Spock says, you forgot the other bit where I said, don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah.
That's right, everybody. If you like this, what you see, please hit the like button and subscribe to Anti-Derivative Jill's channel.
So they end up doing that, the spiral course.
Yes.
But the cube is still blocking the ship, and Spock is starting to pick up some radiation readings. At 190 meters away, that radiation...
Sorry, I'm just going to say that last shot is where we get a really good detailed shot of the side of the ship that you can see inside the windows. Right there.
Yes. And that's something that's sort of accentuated in the remaster as opposed to the originals. The originals are very, very blurry, just for the nature of the photography at the time. It's interesting to see what they were doing in 1960s special effects, but when updated, and again, it's the same shot in the original. It's just, this is cleaned up. You get to see a little bit more of the definition of the cube. You get a little bit more detail in the Enterprise. Really, really appreciate the restraint of the remaster.
Yes, I agree. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Jill, continue.
Oh, don't be sorry. That was great. I liked it. And so the radiation is going stronger and past tolerance levels as Kirk asks for warp 2. And finally, Kirk calls on Bailey for the phaser fire. But Bailey does nothing and has to be told a second time before he actually locks on the target. And finally gives the order to fire, which occurs just in time because his radiation levels are going to start harming the crew. And so the cube has been destroyed.
And there's Spock shouting.
Um,
Now reaching critical levels.
Yeah.
That would have been a great. Sorry,
So-
Dalek. That would have been a great Dalek voice.
Yeah, and this episode has a lot of really cool close-ups of everybody.
Yeah.
And now I gotta switch my slideshow.
Well, that's Scotty hungover, obviously.
Mm-hmm. And so my notes are ahead of my slides. So we're just looking at all of the action that I've already described.
No
And
problem.
it's great.
Yeah.
It's great just to be able to see this stuff.
Am I? Is this really part 2? Oh, I guess so. Yeah, there's a radiation building up.
Yep.
Okay, there we are.
There we are.
Yeah. Oh, and hello hello, welcome to the panel. Gorilla's Random Thoughts.
Gorilla!
Okay, I'm gonna have trouble hearing you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna try something real quick here.
So there's the phaser fire on the cube, and now it's been destroyed. And everybody gets jostled around a bit.
And that's the same people in the hallway that were there before. And yeah, and I was wondering about that. Now, would there be safety protocol to where when the ship is under attack and it's jostling, wouldn't it be safer if they just sit down on the floor? I mean, wouldn't there be more injuries from flying around the ship?
You're absolutely right. You know, I considered that, especially later, where McCoy's like leaning against the console. Like, at least
Right.
he should be sitting.
Or maybe if the hallways had bars like a staircase, where you could just lean against the wall and hold on to the bar.
Mhm.
Yeah, too bad they
Like a
don't
bus.
have this well-known invention called a seatbelt.
They would have straps along the walls, I guess, for you to lean up against the wall and just strap yourself to the wall would probably be the safest thing, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a good point.
yeah. Hey, Jill, going back to my
Hi.
previous comment like 20 minutes ago, you said it
Oh,
wrong.
Sorry if we missed your comment.
Oh, I'm so
Gorilla.
sorry if
No,
I
you didn't miss
misread
it. You said it wrong. It's red alarm, because there's a Packlet ship doing that. They did that as a joke in Lower Decks, or the Packlet ship was going red alarm.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen season 2 of that. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I generally only watch. So far, I'm only rewatching real Star Trek from 1966 to 2005.
Yeah.
So
I haven't even seen
I
season
might
1.
eventually. I have seen season 1. I might see season 2 just so I could talk to Scotty about the season 3 episode 1 on Friday.
Oh, it
And
comes out that
see,
soon, huh?
We'll see what I think about it. No, it's already out.
The Discovery? I mean, the Picard?
No, Lower Decks.
Lower Decks.
Oh, okay. No, I'll pass on that one. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely pass on it.
That's the one by the.
I'm only watching it to review it.
That's the one by the Rick and Morty guy, right?
Yes.
Yes. It's a great Memberberry show.
That's right. No,
well-
I need good scripts.
Well, he had a good Twitter page too about like fake Star Trek episodes. That's probably where he should have kept it.
Well, and if I remember correctly, Berta Prey is a fan of the first episode.
Oh,
of
yeah.
Lower Decks. This
Oh yeah,
season as well.
I've heard that. Well, I haven't seen it yet. That's true. I haven't watched Bird's review because I haven't seen the episode yet, and since I am actually going to watch it with you, I'm waiting. Yeah, I'm not proud of myself for it, but we're going to do it.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad. It's not like anybody's asking you to go streaking.
Hey, what's wrong with streaking? It's actually a lot of fun.
When I do it, it's awesome.
So,
It's a lot of fun,
So
but
there's
that's the
some quotes
benefit of
here.
living out in the middle of nowhere.
oh yeah, I love that speech too. I'm going to read that speech in its entirety later in Reporter Life form.
That's great.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Who has the wacky cube music theme in their head now? I love it.
Bum, 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 ba-na, 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 ba- It's so it builds tension, and a lot of it is the music in this that really does
Yeah.
build the tension throughout the episode. It's
The
great.
music and the camera angles and the actors reacting to what they're supposed to be reacting to. It all pulls together.
This is what, in my opinion, the music, it drives the plot, and it's much more theatrical compared to the newer Star Trek episodes. It just seemed to where it got more and more in the background and more like a soap opera. It just didn't have, I mean, the impact that the music does for the animated series and for TOS. I don't know. I missed that. I think it's sorely missed in TV shows since at least the 80s.
But also the music allows and anyway, they blow up the cube. But the music allows the scene to breathe a bit. You get an action scene, you get the music swell, you get the response from the crew, and then there is a moment to allow you to understand what has just happened. Now, this is a great scene. I love this.
And
Yes.
right. And you can see Kirk is tired.
Yeah. Well, he's been up for like 20 hours.
The cube has been destroyed, so now Kirk has to decide: should they continue their mission? Should they continue exploring, or should they turn away? And Spock determines that if they forge on, they'll discover the aliens who created the probe. And Kirk interjects that contacting alien life is the mission of the Enterprise. And so we get another classic line here that I really like. Spock says, "Has it occurred to you that there's a certain inefficiency in constantly questioning me on things you've already made up your mind about?" And Kirk says, "It gives me emotional security. Navigator, set a course ahead."
Well, and there's a hint of a smile from Spock at that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is.
But it is counter.
There it is.
There it is. Look
Yeah,
at
there's that look.
There he is.
Yeah.
Everybody's fixing things, going about their duties.
Yeah, you'll notice there on the console, that's a regular wire clippers, and he's using a screwdriver. So they use modern day tools.
Yes, and Sulu's working on creating simulations, according to Kirk's orders, in case they encounter another object.
Right, which is what a military ship would do. That's what he would say is, I want you to run this over and over until you get it right. I want 100% efficiency. That's exactly how a real captain would do it.
All right, guys, I gotta go. My battery's dying here. We'll see ya. Thanks for
Take
having
care,
me.
Gorilla. Talk to you
Oh,
soon,
See you,
Gorilla.
Oh, okay. Thank you for hopping in for a minute there.
Yeah, we'll see ya.
See ya.
Cheers.
And you see Bones watching him like, what is this guy doing? This is where Bones is doubting. Maybe he's too tired, right? Maybe he's, which makes sense. Bones is going to start doubting this at a certain point if he gets too tired.
Mm-hmm, right. And they travel together in the turbo lift, and you're absolutely right. That's what he's thinking. McCoy thinks that Kirk has promoted Bailey too quickly, and that the crew in general are tired. And
well, this also establishes their friendship and relationship better than, like, just in terms of knowing who these two guys are. They trust each other. They are free to communicate with each other. There's no permission to speak freely, Captain. There is just, like, look at that. Come on. And they trade witticisms in the turbo lift and in the quarters and in Kirk's quarters. And Kirk says, "What? I thought you thought a little bit of suffering never hurt anybody." He's like, "I never said that." And then there's another moment here, and then McCoy again is like, I never said that either." And Kirk is like, "But I swear I heard you say that."
And they're drinking buddies, so yeah.
right. That the crew is better than robots or machines.
And it is sort of echoes of the Pike and Boyce relationship from The Cage, in terms of, well, now you're starting to sound like a doctor, bartender.
Right, it's almost that same scene, right? Just like reworded slightly.
Well,
Great.
different because Kirk doesn't have the sort of self-doubt
Right.
that Pike did, but there's
Right.
still it's just it's the camaraderie and the friendship that I really that's part of the reason. Like I admire Kirk, but I would drink with McCoy.
Right, and I think that's one of the great things about writing this is they could have written McCoy as being distant, where the only time Kirk saw him was in sick bay or on the bridge. But the fact that he brings him into his quarters and they hang out together and drink together, that's what really develops their character a lot.
And not only that, but also the introduction as we have the late great Grace Lee Whitney as
Aw.
Yeoman Janice Rand coming in and attending to the captain, and
And,
McCoy supporting her.
and apparently he's a carnivore because he doesn't like what he's like. What is this? When he sees a salad.
Well, I like salads too, but where's the tomatoes and carrots and cheese?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's a starship, Jill. We don't have those kind of resources. All we have is lettuce. Lettuce and sun-dried tomato vinaigrette that he eats with his hands. He eats a salad with his hands.
Yeah, I was wording that as a fork or something.
Well,
Yeah.
wait, you don't?
He. Well, yeah,
I've
we have
been
no
eating
salad
fistfuls of
dressing, I guess.
arugula for years.
Right. I ate iceberg lettuce, one in each hand. Now that hair of hers, that was a wig, right?
I don't know.
Because I wonder if they actually went to the effort of tying her hair up like that. Seems pretty extravagant. I don't know. Time consuming.
Makes sense that it would be a wig.
Yeah, it makes sense. Part of it at the top.
And then Kirk says, I don't know what big up muckety muck decided that I was going to get a lady yeoman. And McCoy is just like, what's the matter? You don't trust yourself? And Kirk says that the Enterprise is a female, which is interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I've already got a female to worry about. Her name's Enterprise.
Which I love that role. Or that line.
Yeah. I just like that picture.
Sulu's keeping an eye on Bailey. Like you get ready for him to snap any second.
Well, and I like Sulu's look, and he's just like, seriously, dude, can I stop pushing your buttons? Can you
Yeah, I
do
know,
your
right?
job?
Yeah, you need to start doing your job, unless I get paid for your check,
Right, exactly what happens here. That's right, Scotty. After the bridge calls reporting another object made of similar metal to the cube, we find that this object has grabbed onto the Enterprise, and Spock estimates his scale. The reading's gone off his scale, so he has to estimate the diameter of the sphere is a mile long. A mile long diameter. And
Take care,
Kirk needs-
nerdtorial. Sorry.
is
I'm too
Nerdtorial
late.
going?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
5 minutes ago.
He's got to go. I got to wrap up my final Ocarina video. Okay, great. And he does want to join the panel in the future. You're always welcome to join the panel. That would be really awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they're every Tuesday at either 11 Central, but today was noon. Sometimes I get a little off. But yes, you're always welcome.
You arrive exactly when you're supposed to.
Yes.
Don't apologize. There is no show without Auntie Riv Jill.
Well, that's true. I'm the one who starts it.
Now I'm curious.
But
Bailey.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm wondering with Bailey. What do you think is going on with him right now? Self doubt, regret? You think maybe he thinks he's over his head.
Yes.
And that's why that was the reason why he's acting like this.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. Which is good. I mean, that's at least they somewhat fleshed out the character. He's not just some random two-dimensional character.
Oh no, I think they give Bailey's the same Bailey's. I'm an alcoholic. So I think they give Bailey enough of a characterization here in the same way that they give Lieutenant Styles the characterization in Balance of Terror.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bailey is a guest star, and I think he is one of the most interesting, and I'm going to get to it as soon as we keep going. But I think that Bailey is one of the most brilliant cautionary tales and redemption stories in all of Star Trek, and it happens in arguably the third episode.
And all in one episode. It's not spanned over a season arc or whatever they want to call it.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. This is a self-contained story. We meet a character, he goes through something, and we get to see a resolution, and it's really neat to actually get something satisfying.
Right.
And Son of a Red Shirt says, I know on this channel it's not a popular opinion to express, but I hope you give Lower Decks another shot. Oh, I always give everything a chance. My problem is that it pays some respect and then it pays some disrespect, and it's kind of like it. Lower Decks is kind of schizophrenic to me.
I haven't seen it myself, but I've heard some of the reviews on Bird's channel, and my reason is very simple. The lead character, the way she treats everyone around her.
Yes,
another Mary
right.
Sue Loudmouth.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Right. Another hateful, spiteful character. No.
Yeah. She performs physical violence against her crewmates, and
Right.
it's totally fine. Apparently,
Mutiny, everything, insubordination. You can. I mean, the list goes on and gets away with it. And it's supposed to be funny. No.
Yeah. She gets really drunk and chops off her crewmate's leg. It's like, okay, that's. I don't know. That just wasn't. I mean, I guess it's if you're laughing, I guess you're enjoying it. I just don't find it that.
Yeah,
good.
it's not my. Yeah, Kapla Bird.
Kapla.
Yes, Kapla to Bird will pray 5.
I do appreciate where you're coming from. I do like the references. They are very knowledgeable. You're absolutely correct, Son of a Red Shirt, in terms of their lore. However, when I'm watching Star Trek, I'm sort of looking for insight as opposed to a punchline, or something to aspire to as opposed to something to point and laugh at.
Right,
exactly.
The crew members attacking each other and insulting each other, disrespecting each other, not following orders. I mean, all that is against Star Trek. I mean, that is not Star Trek.
And it's not new. Like, you've seen Futurama, you've seen The Simpsons, you've seen so many sort of parodies of Star Trek. When Star Trek tries to parody itself, all it is steeped in references, because you have a built-in audience that will recognize those references, and those references themselves become the humor of the situation as opposed to anything new or insightful. I would say that if you are a fan of Lower Decks, I applaud you. I'm glad that you are happy with it, but I feel the same sort of bristling as when I laugh at a joke on The Big Bang Theory. It's like, I get that reference. Is it funny? No, but I get that reference.
Yeah, and Futurama is way funnier, and it doesn't disrespect Star Trek, because guess what? They don't call the the Planet Express whatever the Enterprise, and they don't call themselves they don't take the Star Trek name and when they do bring Star Trek into it, they bring in the real actors for it, and that was a really great episode.
But there's a Family Guy episode where they go through the drive-through, and that I find that one moment where they're going through the drive-through funnier than most of.
Yeah, well, that was great too, because that's the actors.
Right, and I'd like to add too, and I think it's like what you said, Scotty. I think the reason why we're seeing a big shift in quality is because they're literally hiring writers who previously did cartoons. That's what you get in Lower Decks. That's what we got on the Orville. Some of the main writers on the Orville did SpongeBob SquarePants just before that show. So I think that's another reason why they have no experience in science fiction, in discipline, in military, in science, in at any form. And the only experience they have is writing for a cartoon show with the kiddie jokes, and potty humor.
Well, and J.D. Lewis also.
Well, I wouldn't say that Lower Decks is that bad, actually. Wow, I can't believe you made me defend Lord.
Well, you should.
How did you do that?
I'm sorry, Jill. I didn't mean to do that. I apologize. I did not mean to do that. I would never do that.
Wow, that is incredible. I didn't think I don't like it.
Well, the writer of Lower Decks came from Rick and Morty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but also J.D. Lewis. Big shout out to Ted Cassidy doing the voice of Balok.
Yep. Good old Lurch is always around, right?
Rook. Ted Cassidy is Rook, you heathen.
You notice the similarity, too, between Rook and Balok's puppet? The makeup is similar. The head and the
big forehead.
The blue. The blue. Sorry, I guess I shouldn't have mentioned we haven't seen that yet.
You're
No,
always
no, no,
welcome,
it's
son of a red shirt, if you want to be on the panel. Definitely open invitation.
and also
for
son of a red shirt. I'm a Canadian who identifies as an American.
So yeah, son of a red shirt says Canadians generally need an invitation to participate on a panel. Just ask Scotty. Can't help but find it rude to just show up on someone's panel if you don't know them very well.
I built
Yeah,
my
I always.
entire YouTube
I would
career
hope
on
that
showing
you
up where
know
I'm not
me a
wanted.
little bit. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't usually go on unless I'm invited. I know how that is.
So I've been wanting to see this thing. So here's the thing.
Here's the thing, the Facerius.
And I have to admit, this is where the new effects do help because this is blurry, kind of because of the lack of resolution in the older series. No knock on the older series effects, but when they show this close up, it's a lot better than you've ever seen before.
Absolutely. You see like the piping and the construction of the surface of the Facerius.
Right.
Whereas in the original special effects, just by the nature of the way that they were filmed, it's all very blurry. And again, it just sort of looks like a yellow golf ball.
Well, what it was is like here they almost look like jewels, yellow jewels, and you can see the structure underneath. In the old effects, they were glowing so brightly it just looked like a ball of glowing orbs. You couldn't really see.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll know when we get see here. You can really see in detail.
Yeah. That's so cool with the paneling and the piping and everything like
Right,
that.
which is detail we never saw in the original series. It just looked like glowing orbs all packed together.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like a spherical cube or a Q ship, similar. Oh, that's right. In fact, we never visit these aliens again in Star Trek at all, do we? In any series?
Not in a series. I believe Quark does mention the First Federation and Tranya in an episode of Deep Space Nine, but I have no facts to back that up.
You're probably right. I don't have as good of a memory of Deep Space Nine. The little details. I know the big picture stuff, but sometimes I forget the details. So you probably are right. Yeah, that sounds like something he'd mention.
Yeah, whatever happened to Bailey? I guess we'll find out at the end, huh?
So, Kirk needs magnification reduced so he could see all of the sphere, but Bailey's train has already left the station. So Sulu,
he's tripping.
So Sulu has to comply instead. And now I need my next slides.
Oh, we're switching subspace communication channels. Please stand by. I believe Kirk is attempting to ship.
Yes, Mr. Bailey picks up Balok's message and Uhura broadcasts it to the entire ship. And Balok takes the destruction of the warning buoy as a sign of aggression. And Kirk tries to explain that they didn't know it was a warning and that the Enterprise was blockaded. But Balok interrupts Kirk and threatens to destroy the ship if they're aggressive any further.
10 of your Earth minutes. And this is when Kirk delivers. Oh, this is why we boldly go where no one has gone before.
Well, right, he realized that the whole ship heard that threat, so they're like, they're probably wondering what's going on, right?
Oh yeah, McCoy shows up and says, "We heard Balok's message over the whole ship."
Yeah. Balok shuts down some of the systems, and whatever method he's using impresses Mr. Spock. And who decides to see if he could provide an image to go along with the voice, and that's where McCoy tells Kirk the whole crew heard Balok. So Kirk addresses the entire crew. He warns them that the greatest danger is fear of the unknown. And my favorite line here for this episode is, "But there's no such thing as the unknown. Only things temporarily hidden, temporarily not understood." And he then tries to reassure the crew that the alien species are intelligent enough for space travel, and so they should be able to understand that the Enterprise is trying to be peaceful.
And this is where Bailey has his Star Trek Discovery meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
And
This
here's
is
where
the-
we're. Yes, go ahead.
This is the theory that I have, is that when you watch modern Star Trek, there is a certain level of professionalism that you are expected to maintain based on the disciplines that are taught to you during Starfleet Academy. Although not established here, we are a ways away from the Academy, but Bailey has been promoted too quickly. Bailey is in a position of being the navigator, and he is not prepared for the stress of being on the bridge, on what would ostensibly be the front line of this starship command, right?
Agreed. Yeah, and that
Oh,
discipline is
absolutely.
very important because not being able to conduct yourself in the proper way could cost lives.
Right, that self doubt. He's afraid that what if he causes problems because of his hesitation?
Well, and he has, and he does.
Yeah, and he flips out. He has his
Yes.
tantrum.
Which brings me to the first laugh out loud line in Star Trek in terms of the first 3 episodes, is when Sulu is doing, and he's like, all right, it's going to be 7 minutes or 8 minutes. And Bailey's like, oh, and he's doing a countdown.
Right.
Yeah. That was actually my second laugh. I laughed at McCoy first, but yes.
Are y'all robots? Wind up tin soldiers? So
And and do you guys think if at this point, if the Vulcan nerve pinch had been introduced, Spock would have used it?
Probably. But also, if you watch the first episode of Discovery, this is the part where Bailey would have walked into the ready room and shot the captain and come back and said, we're supposed to start shooting.
Really,
Yeah,
I would think that if,
that would be.
yeah,
You're right.
I would think if this is Discovery, he would go off like this, and then he'd get all the crew members crying and all sobbing and hugging each other in the center of the room.
Yeah.
And asking the alien for a few more minutes while they cry.
Mm-hmm.
Lieutenant, or sorry, Mr. Bailey, I'm not sure of his rank, but Mr. Bailey is, right now, if you look at everybody in the background, from Scotty, Blonde Lady, and Sulu, they are all looking, that is Star Trek, looking at Discovery, being like, what did you do?
Yeah, too bad they can't say that. This isn't the Discovery, this is the Enterprise. We don't allow that around here. Like, grow up here.
Again, and not to, and again, I don't want to crap on anybody's happiness at all.
Right.
If you are a fan of any of the new Star Trek, I am also a person who's going to go into every new episode of Star Trek hoping that it's going to be good, and I am with you. If you have found pleasure and joy in watching the new Star Trek, I applaud you. Good for you. It is not my cup of Plomeek tea.
Me neither.
But this is one of those situations where it's like, okay, are we going to have the emotional outburst Starfleet crew, or are we going to have the people who are doing their job to boldly go, not timidly, not emotionally? We are going to boldly go.
And that's exactly what delineates.
Right, because their emotions are
Star Trek.
endangering. Right, their emotions are endangering the entire crew. All it takes is one person to bring that whole ship down if they don't do their job.
They could be doing other things right now instead of having to coddle Bailey.
Well, yeah, right. Well, Kirk does, finally. Kirk does. He realizes he doesn't have time for this, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does. So after Bailey's big display of emotions, don't you know when you're dying? Watch and regulations and orders. What do they mean? So that's when Captain Kirk relieves Bailey and sends him to his quarters.
Which is so amazing because it is like later on, McCoy comes up to the bridge and says, if we happen to make it out of this, Kirk is the one who's like, no one's given up yet.
Right, and I think Kirk realizes that his condition isn't more on a security threat. I think he knows that it's medical. Otherwise, he would have sent security to accompany him to his quarters, but he didn't. He asked the doctor to accompany him. So I think he knows that it's emotional distress.
Yes, of course. And again, there is a compassion. Just because you disagree with your captain doesn't necessarily mean that you have to attempt a mutiny. Looking at you, Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
But
And-
this is the moment that I really. Oh, I'm
before
sorry.
this moment, Kirk was trying to make. I didn't there was no screen caps for it, but right before that moment, he's trying to make Balok understand that the buoy was emitting dangerous radiation to the crew, and that was also why they had to destroy it. But Balok is still set on destroying the ship in 7 minutes. And then we get to this part.
And this is the part where Spock says to Kirk, it's chess. When all of the pieces are in place, there is no escape. Like, I'm paraphrasing, obviously. I'm sorry, I don't have the script in front of me. But when your attack is planned and there is no escape, checkmate. And Kirk goes, is that the best you have for me? And Spock goes to say, I'm sorry, stops himself. He has his hands behind his back, and then he sort of straightens himself up and says, I just haven't, or not I just, I see no other logical alternative. And I thought that was such a beautiful character moment because he was going to submit to his human side to say, I'm sorry, or Canadian side. I know he's not Canadian. Kirk's the Canadian in this one. Actually, it's not Kirk, it's Shatner, but whatever. And
yeah.
it
Kirk
is
from Iowa.
Kirk from Iowa. But no, and it is one of those things where Spock is, I'm sorry, and then even he, under the command of James Kirk, is like, don't say sorry, just what?
I think he's
I
embarrassed.
don't care if you're sorry. Of course he is. Of course
And that's
he
also
is.
why he's like, you'll notice he goes out of his way to whisper that he's really whispering really lowly. He's embarrassed in front of the crew.
Yes. So that's Spock sort of offering his recommendation. And you can tell by the look on Jim's face, he's not pleased with it. And so we go forward.
Well, the whole idea is, and just like in real life, in the military, on any ship, they don't want the crew below them to see weakness because that'll start creating doubt on the ship, and that's the last thing you want.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone, no matter what the condition is of the situation, you have to seem confident to the people below you.
Mm-hmm. Not below you, under your command. I suppose that's
under your
below
command,
you,
right?
Yeah.
Level of command. Yeah, but that's what I meant. Right. I didn't mean like peons. I just meant like, right.
No. I know. I'm being a nitpicker. And this is the part where the second person shows up and says to Kirk, hey, man, you want to ease up a bit?
Yeah, McCoy is entering it in his records that Lieutenant Bailey was too tired and overworked. And really, it's a good thing that McCoy comes to nag about the health of the crew, because he ends up saying the perfect thing that Kirk needed to hear. I intend to challenge your actions in my records. I'll state that I warned you about Bailey's condition. Now that's no bluff.
You want to bluff me, Doctor? Which is an emotional outburst, and everyone swings around and looks at Kirk.
And once again, DeForest Kelly doing a fantastic job, considering this is his first day at work, pretty much.
Yep. See, there you go.
And that's what gives Kirk the idea.
And what's that idea?
Not chess, Mr. Spock. Poker.
And then we get to the titular Corbomite Maneuver.
And I can't really I was trying to summarize this part, but I can't. It's just perfect on its own.
Just do the quote.
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't need to demand things.
Well, no, though that's exactly my plan. Kirk says, this is the captain of the Enterprise. Our respect for other life forms requires that we give you this warning. One critical item of information that has never been incorporated into the memory banks of any Earth ship. Since the early years of space exploration, Earth vessels have incorporated into them a substance known as Corbomite. It is a material and a device which prevents attack on us. If any destructive energy touches our vessel, a reverse reaction of equal strength is
You
created.
have 2 minutes.
Destroying the attacker. It may interest you to know that since the initial use of Corbomite more than 2 of our centuries ago, no attacking vessel has survived the attempt. Death has little meaning to us. If it has none to you, then attack us now. We grow annoyed at your foolishness.
Oh my God, it's so awesome.
And of course, I can't deliver it the way Shatner can, but if I played that clip, I would get a claim.
I think we did a really good reenactment.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, yeah, and thanks for playing Balok.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm no Ted Cassidy, but I try.
Mm-hmm. And that's really the issue with this episode. There are just too many amazing quotes all throughout of it, but we're doing a pretty good job of relaying some of them. And just after this, Balok blocks the way and threatens to destroy the ship. And Spock says that Balok reminds him of his father.
Does anybody know if they ever mentioned Corbomite again in any of the other Star Trek series later?
The Enterprise incident. He does it when surrounded by Romulans in the neutral zone.
I thought he said that all bullets.
Oh, no,
Scotty?
deadly
No,
years.
Scott-
It's the deadly years. It's the deadly years because everyone think he's lost his mind and he's going back and forth between the communication frequency. And so he says, use frequency, whatever. Pardon me. And then Uhura is like, don't you remember? And he's like, just do what I say, yo. And then he does the Corbomite maneuver again in the deadly years.
Okay, gotcha. What about like Discovery or Enterprise or any of those? You guys know?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Oh, thank goodness. Dalek dropped out. Sorry about that, Dalek.
Yes. I'm sorry we lost you, Dalek. I did notice that, but I had to continue.
He was exterminated.
Self-exterminated?
Yeah. I don't know.
Either way, it's always good to see you, Dalek. Thank you so much for.
Yeah, thanks for being on the panel.
Mm-hmm.
Son of a Red Shirt says, I understand your criticisms, I really do, but I hope you can keep it in mind. It's deliberately written to be a comedy. Yeah, and if the comedy's not funny, yeah, I know. I will. I promise. We'll see on Friday what I think. I can't make any real promises about what's going to happen on Friday.
I don't know. I'd rather have Star Trek with a little bit of comedy written in.
Scotty. King Dolphin says Bailey and Styles show up in comic book form in Dead of Honor.
Oh, that's interesting. Cool. And he mentioned what happened between Bailey and Balok, in that comic book, huh? Probably not.
Gorilla's random thought says, how did a species that small build anything?
Size does not matter. Size doesn't matter.
Judge me by my size, do you?
Yeah.
Son of a Red Shirt says, also, for what it's worth, can anybody name me one single Star Trek show, with the exception of the original, where the first season didn't have some bumps into it?
Alan Moraine.
Well, actually, okay, yeah, Deep Space Nine might have had a couple of episodes that weren't the best, but man, that was a pretty good first season. Maybe, yeah, no, it's retrospectively, it is a fairly good season. I give season 1 of Deep Space Nine an A-, I think.
What about season 1 of TNG, and what would you give it?
I think I gave it a D.
A B.
I would being probably,
but it got better.
If I have to rank, can you guys rank like off the top of your head? And I'm not holding you to Starfleet regulations or anything, but off the top of your head, can you rank 1966 to 2005 with the number 1 first seasons?
This one, in my opinion.
Yeah, this one.
Look,
yeah.
I think it's like they got they dropped to the ground running, or however the phrase is. It's like immediately. It's you can see even in the first episode wasn't perfect. It just took a few fine tunes, and we're already ready to go. And we even know, in hindsight, we already know that the first season is fantastic.
But anyway, it's not about the first season. It's about the people at the helm of the show. We have actual real Star Trek DNA in all of real Star Trek from 66 to 2005, where we have people who knew Gene Roddenberry, even if they kind of don't always agree with all of his vision. They at least worked with him, and they at least respected him enough to keep Star Trek more or less
And another thing
What it
too is a
should
lot
be.
of them, right? And a lot of them had a lot of past and prior experiences on other TV shows and movies, and they brought that to the front. These days, they're hiring people that are barely out of college.
Well, and it's very interesting because I would go TOS, Enterprise, DS9, Voyager, TNG in terms of which had the best first season.
Oh, you think Enterprise had a really good first season too?
I think Enterprise definitely sets up the premise of the show.
I don't have an opinion on it yet.
exquisitely.
I'll
really?
have to get back to you. Yeah.
Okay, we'll circle back. We'll circle
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll have
circle
to
back.
circle.
Circle back. Put a pin in that.
Girl at Random Thought says more stuff about the filth. I don't really want to talk too much about it on my Star Trek stream. Okay.
No offense, Gorilla. We just want to try to stick.
Yeah, we love you though, Gorilla.
For everybody curious about what's going on with Lower Decks, I'm fairly certain that we're going to have an in-depth, abstract conversation on Friday.
Yes, that's where I usually like to keep my discussion of the new stuff. But I was trying to mention this moment earlier about how Balok is about to destroy the ship, and Spock is saying, "Wow, I wish we got to know this Balok better because he reminds me of my father." And Scotty says, Mr. Scott says, "Then may heaven have helped your mother." And to that, Spock says, "Quite the contrary. She considered herself a very fortunate Earthwoman."
It's true.
Yeah.
You know why?
And that was the moment right there.
Yeah, that's
why though. You know why why Amanda Grayson felt well, because Vulcans deliver orgasms on command.
Huh?
What's the
what?
I don't know anything about that. You know, you read a lot of books, Scotty.
They said that in a month, right?
Moving on.
Is that both male and female asking for a friend?
Yeah. It doesn't matter what your sexuality is, but if you happen to find yourself, if you happen to find yourself in a relationship with a Vulcan, I'm just going to say the sex is wild.
I'm not saying that isn't a logical conclusion from what we know about a Vulcan neck pinch. If you can stimulate those nerves, then it correlates. But there's nothing in canon to corroborate with this.
So is it so wild that it makes that 7 years wait worth it?
Oh my God! I don't want to talk about Pon
farr. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely don't. He definitely has. This is definitely Friday talk.
Pon farr is so misunderstood.
Yeah, Scotty has opinions.
Okay, sorry about that.
Oh no, it's fine.
But this was the first time that Spock admits that he's half human, because the last time he mentioned it, he said it was an ancestor. Oh, that was just an ancestor. But here he actually admits that he's half human. So that's great.
A little bit of tweaking more of the character, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And it's great to see. And with just a minute left until destruction, Bailey.
And look at that chronometer. More advanced than from the GS. Right, that's more advanced than the GS episode yesterday. Interesting.
But I'm so glad. I'm so glad that it looks like with this remaster that they sort of adopted the stardate, the chronometer, and things like that. They didn't do it specifically because there was a little confusion when we were talking yesterday because there were 5 digits in the stardate on the animated series. But here, it is the same sort of setup. Not the clicks, but if you go back to the original special effects, it is that sort of rotating dial.
Yes, you can see it flip over, yes.
And so I really like that attention to detail when they did the remaster. Just in terms of this is what it looks like for Stardate shipboard. It's not labeled as cleanly, but I like it. I like it a lot.
Did anybody notice that the Stardate matched the captain's log? That's what I need. I keep forgetting to do that. I think it did. Checking.
I don't know. I didn't look.
Well, this might be the next day. Actually, they've been, considering they were waiting for 18 hours that we know of at least.
Well, and also shipboard is based on the countdown given by Balok, if I remember correctly.
Yes. I guess they can set it like a timer, countdown.
Sulu's doing something over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. With just a minute left into destruction, Bailey returns to the bridge and he's allowed back to his position. And Sulu does the final countdown.
The final countdown.
But nothing happens, prompting Spock to say,
Poker.
a very interesting game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And McCoy wants to teach it to him. And here I find myself again ahead of my slides because there are just lots of really cool shots of the crew here.
Every one of these is like a desktop wallpaper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
The colors are fantastic. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely miss it in all the later iterations.
Yeah, I spent too much time being in love with all of these shots instead of like thinking about what I could say about them.
Well, I wish the Bridge of the Enterprise and TNG would have had more color. It just looked like the inside of a Hilton or a hotel or something. I thought everything was brown or tan or beige. It just, I don't know.
They say beige is very soothing.
I suppose. So is blue, isn't it?
It's the warmest color, from what I understand.
And there's our first look at Balok. What we think.
Mm-hmm. And also one of the most iconic. You were talking about the designer of the
Chang, yeah.
Chang did it. And like, don't forget, every closing credit, not every, but most closing credits ended on Balok.
Yes. When I was a kid, that was scary.
Oh yeah, like that is one of the most iconic Star Trek aliens of all time, up until a certain point. Like once you get into Next Generation, you get more sort of diverse makeup effects. But Balok was the sort of hood ornament of Star Trek for the longest time because it was the last image you saw.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he was always very creepy.
Mm-hmm. And then we get the ingenuity of Yeoman Rand.
Yes. Yes, Yeoman Rand is very industrious.
And this is what I meant. She has her red lipstick matching her red dress, and her has brown lipstick matching the brown. Or gold.
And she has her phaser for making coffee. And Balok asks for proof of this Corbomite device, but of course Kirk can't comply, so he refuses.
Denied.
And a smaller ship breaks off from the larger one.
Yes.
And it's going to forcefully ferry them to a habitable planet where it will allow the crew to disembark and destroy the ship that way.
So I don't even know. They mention how long they're in tow, but Kirk even says in his captain's log that the stratagem is patience.
Yes.
We'll wait until they get reckless, and then we'll take advantage of that recklessness.
Precisely. And this is the part of the episode where the action is achieved with sound, camera work, and reactions from the crew. And it's all very good, intense, and worrying.
Yeah, and once again, we get better detail of the little miniature ship.
Yes. Because it's basically just, obscured blinking lights as opposed to the spheres that are in the remaster.
Yeah.
And Kirk decides to pull away from the little ship, even though the power they have to use is taxing the engines.
I really like that. I feel like the entire time, and this is what it means by recklessness, is that the coolant temperature in the manifolds, Kirk is essentially revving the engines. There's no forward momentum. There's no anything. When he says engage, it's just engage the engines. Get them as hot and ready as you can we are not sponsored by Little Caesars. But hot and ready to be able to shear away. Sorry, is that just a Canadian marketing thing? Anyway, moving
No,
on.
no, no, it's
Um,
here. No, it's here. I was just enjoying the analogy. That was good.
And it is. He's ready to just spin out.
hmm
Isn't this where he engages impulse power as well?
Which I thought was weird. Can you put on impulse engines and warp engines at the same
A little,
time? Is there a
I guess
benefit to it?
a little boost, maybe. I don't know.
I suppose.
Because basically, what they're doing is they're fighting the tractor beam, right? Which is wearing down that little ship.
hmm Yeah, and it's doing a pretty good job of that. Or at least that's what we're led to believe. Oh, now we're on my last slides here.
Outstanding. Oh, King Dolphin. Dolphin King. Ray.
Dolphin King? King Dolphin?
Take care, Ray. Good to see you. I'll
Yeah.
try to check out your channel next time you stream.
Oh, I see it now. Guys, I have to head out from work. If you're still on when I get home, I'll be back. Okay, I'm not sure because I've got to go in about 35 minutes or 40 minutes. So we'll see. Have a safe trip home, Raymond.
Cheers.
And Son of a Richard says, "No, Scotty, we have Little Caesars here in the States. Your joke just flopped."
Fair enough.
I'm just kidding.
Does anybody
It's
remember the
Scotty.
Star
No,
Trek little?
I
You
liked it. Just because I don't laugh doesn't always mean that I don't like the joke.
Sometimes I just throw things at the screen and see what sticks. That didn't, and I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you, son of a red shirt. I will consider my jokes next time before blurting them out.
No. Blurt them out. I love them.
And there was a Star Trek Little Caesars commercial back in the early '90s, late '80s. There was a Little Caesars, and they referenced Star Trek. A room full of people were dressed up in cosplaying Star Trek uniforms, and they did a survey and who likes Little Caesars, and it showed everybody stand up, and they said that's every man, woman, and child. It was funny. Sorry, old people would remember that.
I'm
There's
old.
that same hallway then again.
You know what? I was looking to see if they were reusing the same people running from side to side, and
They
they're
do.
not.
Well, yeah, you'll see
Not in this
there's
episode.
Yeah, in this episode, there's a guy wearing a silver, kind of like a
Like a vest thing?
Yeah, a vest with pockets. He shows
Okay.
up several times, jostling through the hallway. He's a black guy, and he was in the original when Kirk was walking down the hallway in the first scene, and Kirk had the shirt over his shoulders. He was like checking out equipment.
Yeah,
And then
but
later
I
they
just
did-
mean they don't
later they-
reuse this same shot of the people being thrown side
No,
to
not
side.
the same shot. No, just the same people
Right.
in the same hallway. Right.
Yes. Well, they just hang out on that deck.
Right, yeah. You never know when they're needed to jostle around. Make sure you're on deck 3, section 2, just in case we get hit.
Exactly, because it looks good for the cameras.
Right, we need somebody there.
So anyway,
Oh, okay. So what
now
happens
this-
is
okay, yes, you go.
Go
okay.
for it.
Balok is now sending out a distress signal because of what Captain Kirk's done. Calling out for help with his he's sending out a message that he needs help with his life support systems.
You think they would have thought that up, but I guess not, huh? That's their mistake.
And Kirk decides to go to help with McCoy and Bailey, leaving Spock behind in case this is really a trap.
Well, and also he announces to the ship. He says, the purpose of this ship is to seek out new life in alien civilizations, and there are
Yes.
lives in danger in that ship. And while alien life to us still lives, which I thought was a brilliant
Agreed.
admonishment to the first season of Picard, where Picard is talking to Admiral Clancy, and Clancy says Romulan lives, and Picard says lives, which is what, that is why we're here. That is what this is. Even if you have a boy with deadly radiation, the Fisarius, which could easily destroy you. Then we're going to take you back to our planet and destroy your ship. And Kirk still says, after disabling I don't know, runabout, it doesn't matter. We have to help.
Right. Yes, and that's absolutely.
It's time to make it so our high-sounding words mean something with our actions.
Yes, already Star Trek has an idea of what it wants to be, and
and Kirk wasn't all about fist fights and everything, and he was also a good diplomat.
Yeah, and he was also an academic too. He was in the last episode. We know that he was a professor when he was going to school. So
yep.
So he's everything.
Oh, you missed. Oh, you didn't get the clip. Okay, I wanted to explain something.
Miss?
That's all.
I didn't get the transporter pad. Sorry.
No.
If you want a specific.
No, it's not the transporter pad. I should have sent the clip.
I don't know.
But I didn't get a chance to watch it until this morning. No, that's okay. I'll explain. All right, hold it right there. When they walk into the transporter, when Kirk and Spock and Bailey walk into the transporter room, on the console there are the phasers, which Scotty hands them, right? You guys remember that?
Yeah, the holsters and everything.
Right. Well, this may be the last episode, I think, but I had noticed the first few episodes, before they put the phasers on, they have like a little brown cloth that they wrap around and tuck in their pants, and then they attach the phasers and tricorders to the brown cloth, kind of like a loincloth. It's a brown, and it looks like made out of felt. And that's not. It does not show up. Definitely not later on in Star Trek. So I'm guessing
it does.
Before they added the Velcro.
But it does show up. Like even in I think the Squire of Gothos, they do. Is it Gothos or Gothos? Doesn't matter.
Gothos.
I think it's Gothos.
Gothos.
Anyway,
I think.
And so, but they did have the sort of holster Velcro sash happen for a while, and then they disregarded it and they just put the Velcro right on the uniform. Not that it was Velcro. I'm sure it was some sort of magnetic situation.
Oh no, it was Velcro because you could hear it tear whenever they would remove it. On some of the episodes, you could hear the sound of Velcro, and Velcro was invented in the 60s.
Well, and actually, you know what? Subcommander T'Pol went back in time to give humanity Velcro, so it all goes full circle. The Enterprise fans out there know what I'm talking about.
That was an episode of Star Trek?
Yeah.
Apparently
not T'Pol. It wasn't T'Pol. It was T'Pol's ancestor. But moving on.
But
when those couple of Vulcans were on Earth.
Was it intentional or not intentional? They actually forgot it, or what happened?
I don't understand the question. Was it intentional that they referenced it?
No, it wasn't intentional.
Did they reference it or
influence?
Right, they gave it to somebody
the technology.
In the past.
Well, it's kind of like, and this is completely an aside, it's kind of one of those things where, remember when Kirk sells his glasses to the guy in 1986?
Right.
And it's just because they need money. And so when T'Pol's ancestor goes back to the 50s, I think, that's when T'Pol's ancestor, and I forget her name, but goes back and decides to introduce Velcro into Earth's history, and that's how she gets money. It's the same thing as transparent aluminum. It's great. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's just a lovely reference.
That's fine. And they use the word Velcro?
I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've seen the episode. I just thought it was cute and I chuckled.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I think Velcro, the word might be patented. I don't know where the product came. I'm not sure.
Also, I just realized that J.D. Lewis is leaving. He's got to go. He left a few minutes ago. If you're still here, goodbye to J.D. Lewis.
Yeah, or if you're back on a later stream, I apologize. I missed your exit.
Thanks, JD. I really am. I appreciate your insight. It's great.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Jill.
Self-censoring. What lies at the very heart of comedy?
Tragedy.
Oh, it's raining.
Apparently it is raining. Ladies and gentlemen, weather forecasts from where I don't know.
From wherever
There is
From wherever
precipitation
Raymond
and
lives.
temperature happening somewhere on the planet, and we wish you the best.
Son of Red Shirt says, no shame at sitting in a coffee shop killing time for half an hour till the rain lets up. If you don't like driving in heavy rain, that is. Oh, yeah, okay. Love that rain.
I enjoy using my windshield wipers. If it doesn't rain, what do I even have them for?
Well, I could definitely use it where I live.
And I like that they take the time to ensure that they can actually breathe the air on the ship before transporting over.
Yes, they do mention that.
Well, and not only that, but if Scotty hadn't said stoop down, they would have materialized with their heads in a bulkhead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little strange. Why?
What? No, I think it's
I think it makes sense. He was able to.
No, yeah, I know, but he doesn't say precisely how much they need to bend down.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
McCoy just barely cuts the just barely passes mustard there.
Well, and no, but it's so funny because I'm thinking about, okay, so what do you tell these actors to do? And if I were the director of this episode, I would be like, okay, guys, just grab your knees.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
So
what
I'm
do you mean stoop.
Well, there used to be a joke in the military where they would tell somebody grab your knees and they would do it and so you can now spell run.
What do you want me to do? Pop a squat? No, nothing that drastic. Just touch your knees.
And Bones is like, screw that. I'll just kind of bend my neck a little bit.
Well, no, this is after, because this is like Bones is the first one who sort of stands up, and it's a brilliant piece of acting because when he stands up, he does bump his head.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
And I was just like, oh, D, you demon. You are a quintessential actor. This is amazing. Because he's down and then he sort of stands up and he bumps his head and he looks around and it's like, oh no, Scotty wasn't kidding.
And on Balok's ship, they find out that the image that they've been seeing of Balok is just a puppet. The real Balok appears as a small child, played by an 8-year-old Clint Howard.
Hang on a second. Before we go on, is this the guy from SpongeBob?
I don't know.
I don't know. You have kids?
Yeah, but I don't like SpongeBob, so I don't play SpongeBob for them. They don't know things exist unless I play it for them.
You're just too busy showing them the animated series of Star Trek from 1973. Exactly. You're a good one.
Well, okay. Well, sort of. I do let my son watch YouTube. Some YouTube.
Anyway, this is getting personal. Let's not talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just think he looks like Squidward or something.
I wanted to mention that the voice of Balok coming through the ship, through the puppet, was Ted Cassidy, as we know. And now that they actually met, right? And now that they met Balok, we know that's played by Clint Howard, right? But obviously not voiced by Clint Howard. It was actually voiced by Walker Edmiston. He was a prolific actor who was in many TV shows and movies. And you might recognize him as the voice from Mission Impossible where he says, "Good morning, Jim. And this tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds."
Oh, is that the same guy?
Yep.
Nice.
In fact, he shows up in Star Trek as an actor in later episodes, and he's also in Mission Impossible. Sorry, go ahead, continue.
Okay. I'm going to read a bit from the book about this Balok effigy. This Balok effigy was created by noted sculptor Hua Cheng. Cheng began his career as the youngest artist to work on Walt Disney's Pinocchio. He later formed his own firm, Projects Unlimited, where he created and built the puppets for George Pal's groundbreaking stop-motion photography in Tom Thumb, as well as the titular vehicle for Pal's The Time Machine.
Right, and to give him credit, he designed Pinocchio. So it wasn't just work on it. He designed Pinocchio. He sculpted that. Mm-hmm. Sorry, go ahead, Jill. He sculpted the copy that the animators used to go by as they were doing the cells, the animated cells.
Cool.
All right. Sorry, go
Over
ahead.
the course of his career, Chang would create key props for a host of motion pictures, including The King and I and Cleopatra. He also designed advertising icons and mascots, such as the Pillsbury Doughboy.
That was his last creation before he retired.
I don't know. Chang created many of the iconic props used in Star Trek: the communicator, the tricorder, and the Vulcan lute. Not to mention the tribbles, the costumes, and masks for the M113 creature, the salt
Yeah, that's the
vampire,
salt vampire. Yeah.
and the Gorn. After retiring from Hollywood, Chang segued into fine art, eventually becoming one of America's prominent bronze sculptors.
Ooh. Sculpturist. Is it sculpturist? If you
Sculptor,
were to,
isn't it? I think it's
if you
male or
say,
female, a sculptor.
well, no. But you said that they sculpt. Yeah, but you said sculptures, and I was like, oh, he became a bronze sculptor.
I meant to say sculptors.
You know what? Never mind.
Sculptures.
Disregard my flippancy.
I'm just going to continue to say the
Yeah.
word incorrectly. So
No, it's fine. And I really like. You know what? That shot of Kirk with the Type 1 phaser, the one that pops out of the Type 2 phaser. I love it. Anyway, I don't know if you guys covered it. I apologize. I geologed.
interesting. Oh, okay.
Torrential rain.
What one of them could have transported in with their hair fused to the ceiling. That would have been
awkward.
That would have been funny. That's something the Orville would do. Scotty's got a Squidward fixation. What?
No, I don't think so. I think he looks like Squidward. It's not me. It's not my fault if he looks like Squidward or if Squidward was inspired by Balok. I don't know.
And yes, like we said, the Balok is played by 8-year-old Clint Howard, but we're supposed to believe the alien's an adult, so he's voiced by an adult by Vic Perrin, and he shares
Big
his
Perrin,
drink.
interesting.
He shares this drink here.
Have some Tang. I mean Tranya.
Tranya.
I was thinking it looked like pineapple juice.
Pineapple juice is yellower. That might be mango juice.
Possibly.
And
Either way,
yeah.
McCoy likes it, so it's boozy.
Yeah, it's probably partially fermented. He really, it makes sense.
Maybe the screwdrivers.
That's actually, you know what? And I didn't notice this watching the episode, but this is a really great still just because, like, okay, I'm going to wait until Dr. McCoy drinks it before I have any.
Well, this is great. Well, because they're all worried if it's going to be poison. And what's good is that I was thinking that Clint Howard does a good acting job where he sees the doubt in their faces, and that's why he takes the first sip himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it says enjoy because they're hesitant, which is totally natural.
I hope you relish it as much as I.
Yes, and he's happy to reveal that the distress signal was just another test, so there's really nothing wrong with his life support systems. And so the Enterprise apparently passed that test.
Which makes sense. That makes sense because his ship should be more advanced than that.
Mm-hmm. And his only real problem is that he's lonely and he'd appreciate some company. So for reasons I'm not really too sure why, but Bailey decides to volunteer to hang out with Balok. And he decides to leave the Enterprise for a limited but unknown amount of time. And so
I kind of understood that. I kind of got that.
Do you?
Yeah. And here's why. Is because Bailey was afraid of the Fesarius the entire episode, right?
Yes.
I think Bailey wanted to go to a more powerful ship for a while, so he wouldn't have to have that nervous.
Oh, I never thought of it as a security kind of thing.
Well, Bailey, and again, it's not a character detriment to him, but it is something that I sort of considered watching it this time, and it was like, well, yeah, it makes sense. You want to do a cultural exchange, but he's going to feel comfortable there because if they can take out a Starfleet vessel without worry, but they still sort of share common goals. It's like, okay, well, these guys aren't bad, but they are powerful, and therefore I'll feel comfortable here. I thought that that's why Bailey was so much more willing to go and hang out with the baby man.
That's a brilliant assessment, Scotty. I didn't even think of that at all. I couldn't figure it out why Bailey would want to leave. And you did it for me. Thank you. I really
it won't
do
be the
love this
first time,
episode.
and it wouldn't be the first time the character in Star Trek found their second calling, like Decker in Star Trek: The Motion
Right.
Picture.
That's a good point, too. And
Or
we'll see that
even
again.
Wesley as joining the Traveler.
Oh, right. Yeah, you know what? I did kind of think of the Traveler, but I just didn't want to mention Wesley.
Well, okay.
Nobody
But
does.
it's okay.
Jill, I'm going to have to
Yes.
take umbrance in this particular detail, is that if we are admiring 66 to 2005,
Yes.
Wesley
and
is
Wesley
a
is
part.
part of it. You're correct. You are correct. And it is
And the
okay.
Traveler.
It is okay to talk about Wesley.
Don't forget to dress warmly on those higher planes of existence.
Yeah, Beverly. Those are her last words to him before she doesn't see him ever again. Oh, she will see him again. I'm sorry.
Do you
Yeah,
think
I'm
he's going
good.
to come back? We'll find out on Friday.
What? No.
No, we'll discuss it.
Okay,
you
we'll
know what I
discuss it
think?
Friday.
Friday's show is going to be
Bring-
talking about the
Bring
filth.
bring me all your filth news on Friday. I don't want to hear it right now.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I understand, and I'm sorry for fighting.
No. Are we fighting? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
I love this episode and the mystery that it pairs with the tense situation with Balok's ship. Puts the Enterprise and what it does to the Enterprise. I don't know. It just carries the episode really well. And so I give this one an A- just for Captain Kirk's resolve and the ability he has to adapt with his to the interactions that he has with his crew and turn things into an advantage against whatever obstacle he has in front of him. Balok references Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but what I also saw in him was kind of like the Wizard of Oz a bit. And Balok's capabilities are real, but grounded in science. And in actuality, he is all alone. So it does make sense he'd want company. And I know, and Scotty, you helped me with my confusion as to why Bailey would just want to leave, because that usually was my only problem with this episode, but you fixed it for me. Thank you.
And I guess they didn't establish how old Balok was, but he sounds like he's supposed to be very old, even though he looks like a child, right?
Yes.
Well, how old is Yoda?
He looks like an old man.
Yoda does look like an old man, yes. But yeah, Balok does look like a baby or 8-year-old Clint Howard.
Apparently, he
also,
started.
I want to give big ups to Clint Howard. This is his first appearance in Star Trek. He shows up again the next time in, the Gabriel Bell riots episodes.
Deep Space
Nine. He plays a Ferengi in Enterprise, and then he plays an Orion pirate in Discovery.
So, Scotty, what do you give? What rating do you give this episode?
I give this. Hang on a second. Let me check. Because I did vote in the poll. I think I gave it an A+. I gave this one an A+.
Nice.
Yeah. I think that this is an episode that exemplifies the philosophy of Starfleet.
It does.
The way the crew conduct themselves upon Starfleet vessels. And the interpersonal relationships are just through the performances of the actors is just admirable. This is one of those episodes. Like if I've said before, the first episode I ever saw of Star Trek was Where No Man Has Gone Before because it freaked me out with the silver eyes. But this is the episode that I watched and I saw, hey, like when I was a kid, I'm Bailey. And then as I grew up, I was like, I want to be Captain Kirk. And then I realized I'm more like Dr. McCoy, being like, where are you taking me? Like everything about this episode is just perfect. It defines Star Trek for me. All the characters are there except for Chekhov. Oh no, I have a Snoopy emergency. But I do adore this episode. I would give it an A plus, no questions.
Okay. And you can take care of Snoopy while Pop Culture Curator gives us his review for the episode. The rating.
In my opinion, I would give it at least an A. I love it, and considering this is the third episode in production, which is what in my opinion puts it miles ahead of many other TV shows and movies at the time. Is we're only the third episode in, and they've already showed that the new encounter every week is not going to always be a monster or a bad guy or something like that. They found out that it was a peaceful existence that wants to coexist, and they're out there to shake hands, which is what the whole thing about is exploring new civilizations is all about. Is that it's not all monster of the week, right?
Right, that's the wonderful thing about Star Trek. It mostly doesn't have villains; it has antagonists.
Yes, exactly right.
And not only that, but this was at a time in television where you would have a monster of the week, and it would be a twist that the monster of the week actually not such a bad guy.
Nope. It has the face of a child, and it's not only that, but very intelligent, which is great.
And it's not through exposition; it's about the casting and representation of who you like. Imagine if you had Ted Cassidy playing Balok, and you're being roped into it by the image of Clint Howard. Like it changes completely if you're roped into it by the cherubic image of a child, and then you're confronted with an alien. But this is you're confronted with Monster of the Week, and then it's like, oh, Captain, thank you. You have passed the test.
Yes, and he uses that alien image to protect himself because people wouldn't be afraid of him.
Right, he even says that they wouldn't be afraid if they saw my face.
And I hope that that's part of the cultural exchange that occurred between the United Federation of Planets and the First Federation is don't present yourself with an image of fear first.
Compassion, definitely have some compassion as well. They could have easily left them when the ship died of what they thought that was them.
Yeah, that was the test, and they passed it.
Oh my God, I love this episode.
Seriously, when it comes to
culture.
Oh no, it's fine. I was just thinking when we see already the casting is coming together, the writing is absolutely already fantastic. I just wish a future series of Star Trek could have gotten hitting the ground running like this one did. It would have been really nice.
I agree. Son of a Red Shirt says, after they transported in with their hair fused to the ceiling, we would have been treated to a cute scene with Balok running around his ship saying, I know I left the scissors here somewhere.
Yeah. He would have let them just sort of be glued to the ceiling and being like, silly 6 foot.
Or what they could have done is said, Scotty, can you please beam us out and back again a little lower next time?
You know what? There's probably a lot of compensation going on with the transporters anyway. So once materialization begins and it's like, oh, a little too high, then we move. Like Scotty's good at transporting things, right?
He is.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking too. I know we kind of mentioned that they did make sure that it had oxygen atmosphere before they beamed over, but they
Mhm.
don't seem to be too concerned about spreading germs or catching germs.
True. That is a good
Yeah.
point. It is third episode, but yes, you're correct. They
Well,
should.
even in later episodes in
I
the
mean,
series,
but that happens all of the time. Like
right?
they're hardly ever concerned about the pathogens in there.
Right. They're not going to show them put on that big old bulky spacesuit every time they go and visit other
Mhm.
planets, right? And interact with actors, right?
They could
Right.
do the energy belts.
Right. Kind of gets in the way of the acting. The energy belts. I knew you were gonna mention.
We taught.
I love those.
Oh yeah, they're really nice and handy as a plot device, but they're a little overpowering.
Well, but isn't it a weird thing that they haven't brought those back at all?
Yes.
Like I figure nowadays they should. You can make a force field glow around any character and be like, this is how it works.
They haven't
Hmm.
even like in the Discovery or one of those, huh? They still
Uh,
use suits.
I'm kind of with Jill. I don't want to talk about Discovery until Friday.
Oh, same here.
My they're making my stomach sour.
Yeah. The Son of a Red Shirt continues. I didn't know he was voiced by Vic Perrin. I've heard that name before. I know legendary voice actor Paul Frees did some work on Star Trek, and in particular the episode Patterns of Force.
Paul
Yes.
Frees did a lot of stuff.
Then he continues, wonder how differently that scene where Balok passes the drinks would have been interpreted if they cast Bill Cosby. Son of a
Well,
Red Shirt, you belong on the panel.
It's funny because Bill Cosby actually had a series running at that same time.
I Spy,
Yep.
monumental, monumental television series for the first black lead actor.
Hmm.
It's so sad.
Yeah, it is.
A waste.
No, I know. I was a kid enjoying the that TV.
Well, and you can join us next Thursday for our podcast, The Cosby Chronicles. It goes
And-
from the highs and lows of William H. Cosby Jr.
From Fat Albert to prison.
Oh my God. I
Son of-
show up on a Star Trek podcast and I start talking about Cosby.
that was a Son of a Red Shirt. We
Let's-
know why he's a red shirt now.
You know what? I never even saw Leonard Part 1,
Well, okay,
2,
actually-
3.
Actually,
Sorry.
to be fair, Son of a Red Shirt could be in Command Gold. He could be in blue. He could be a red shirt. We don't know. He's just the son of a red shirt.
True.
Oh, well, that's true. That's possible.
He also says one of my biggest gripes was Star Trek in general, and I mean over all the series, is that they introduced interesting new species like First Federation, and then you never hear from them again, ever. Yeah, and that continues on.
Oh, I wish we could have used more of that in the
Throughout.
Orville.
Yeah, that's. Oh, never hearing from certain species ever again. Yeah.
Right. Instead of the same three of them over and over and over and over and over and over.
So maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. It makes the world, whole world or the whole universe seem more vast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Son of a Red Shirt would have loved to see things like the First Federation ships show up in DS9 to help fight the Dominion. Well, and while I agree, I would love to see that. I was wondering what the Melkotians are doing. What is the first the peace treaty between the Klingons and the Federation?
The Kittimer?
No, not Kid. The first one.
Oh, the first one. Oh,
The one with the energy beings. I forget their names.
From TOS?
Yes. It's the one with Core.
Oh,
And then
right.
the Placid,
I know,
they
what
always
you're
smile.
talking about.
Is
Yeah.
that the Day of the Dove? Is that the one little anger thing that was floating around the hallways?
No. That's Kang. No, with Core. Oh, never
King
mind.
Core,
move on.
sorry. King Core.
No, I'll find it, and so I can have closure on this anecdote. Please continue.
So, but what you're saying, though, is they signed a peace treaty of some sort, the Federation and the Klingons?
Yes. Oh yeah, and it happens. I don't. I'm trying to
It's
remember.
the episode is Errand of Mercy. Mercy. I
Errand of
love that
Mercy.
episode, and so
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
upset I can't remember either.
The Melkotians are from Arena. However, oh no, I've gone to the character or the actor, not the character. Errand of Mercy. Keep going, guys.
Oh, okay. Uh, what are we going for? Let's see. I
The
think
next thing.
Next thing is Son of Red Shirt says, would have loved to see things like. Oh yeah, we already said that. Bill. Okay, so Son of Red Shirt wants to mention Bill Cosby again, saying Bill Cosby and Robert Culp in I Spy was a fantastic show.
Robert Culp was excellent. Robert Culp, very, very talented and funny man.
And also, just realizing I'm a few minutes behind.
Robert Culp was married to the woman who played the Dolman of Alas of Elna Troy episode.
Oh wow! When did they get divorced?
When they got
Sorry,
divorced, I'm
that's
not
rude.
sure. But I know they were married at the time, and she even guest starred on I Spy.
Organians, the Organian peace treaty.
Okay, yeah. See, I hope Clobby doesn't watch this. I couldn't remember that either.
No, I hope he does. Hi, Clobby.
Yeah, hi, Clobby. So I wanted to thank you guys for helping me review this episode. You made it a much more rich podcast than it would be without you guys. So thank you. Thank you. Pop Culture
We
Curator.
wouldn't be here without you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you. I had a great time. I appreciate both of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, everybody in the chat, by the way. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat. I wish I could say hello individually
good idea.
to every person.
Well, we can. I got a few minutes.
Have the power.
We have the power to scroll up.
Mm-hmm.
And today we had first in chat was King Dolphin, Lord Raymond Feliciano. He's now Lord because he owns some land.
Nice.
I'll meet you on the compound, my friend.
Right.
And thank you also, Gap After Dark.
Cheers.
Both King Dolphin TV and Gap After Dark have YouTube channels. And thank you for being here, Claude Parrish. I often see you sometimes on the Saturday Night Star Trek podcast by Clobber Times, which everybody should subscribe to Clobby. Saturday Night Star Trek is super fun. And Gorilla's Random Thoughts was here and also on the panel for a little bit. Thank you for joining us. And Captain Time Lord Spock was phasing in and out. He's probably asleep by now. Probably somewhere along the line during this live stream he passed out because he stopped commenting. Or he's playing with toy soldiers or unboxing something, or who knows.
He's a very busy man. He's creating a comic book. He's trying to create himself.
Oh, that's right. That's what he's doing
a media
right now.
empire. And so I appreciate all of his efforts, and I wish him nothing but the most of success.
Me too. And also thank you, Son of a Red Shirt, for hanging out with us.
And then Mr. Brown was here as well.
Oh, yeah.
JD!
Mr. Brown was here, and JD was here. He was great.
JD
and
was
Cardinal
offering
Sin said hi.
Cardinal.
Mm-hmm.
And
Matt G. And we had
also,
a Matt G.
We had a Matt G. We had a Dalek.
Yes, we had a Dalek. And an Edge of Time.
Edge of Time. Ahoy. I can't wait to meet you on the field of battle once again, my friend. It's very Klingonian. Not a word, Scott. Not a word. And thank you again, Mr. Brown. And I would highly recommend if you are a person who bristles against the sort of sensitive nature of Hollywood currently and how it is affecting storytelling, Mr. Brown has a fantastic analytical channel with a panel that breaks things down a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? I want to say like brusque, little. They are critical of the nature. Not as nerf as I am. I am a little nerf, but yeah, no, it's an interesting assessment of the nature of modern storytelling and how it affects the sensibilities of, for lack of a better term, the woke. And so, if you are interested in talking about that, that is a channel that I would subscribe to because I am.
Well,
Subscribe.
there is a definite problem in storytelling in Hollywood in terms of corporations taking over the creative aspects instead of individuals or small groups of writing teams. Who?
And I think it's sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it's a conversation that we'll probably have on Friday as we're discussing the transition between old Star Trek, new Star Trek, and where storytelling is going.
And I think that's exactly what happened to it, too.
Mm-hmm. Kapla!
And yeah, Kapla. Bird of Prey 5 was here, and make sure to subscribe to Bird of Prey 5. He streams. He might play poker today. I don't know what he's doing, but he streams quite a bit. And on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he has his bed life, and Sunday he's got Twilight Zone stream, watch party. Then on Wednesday, Wednesday is not bed life. Wednesday is Deep Space Nine watch party.
But a fantastic community over at Bird of Prey's channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of fun.
Yeah.
And he's funny too. And Raymond King Dolphin TV says, oh yeah, I need to read this. The autobiography of James T. Kirk.
Oh, there's something about it. That the autobiography of James T. Kirk, not written by, or at least co-written by Shatner.
James T. Kirk. Well, but if it was Shatner, he'd say who?
Like, I'm a big fan of the Ashes of Eden and the Shatnerverse post-Generations. I read all of those books. That was at the height of my Star Trek fandom, and I ate those up like they were food.
Mm-hmm.
Just interesting lore. And also, it's one of those things that gives a little bit of credence to Lower Decks, is because a lot of those, and co-written by Garfield and Judith Reeves Stevens, that are referential, but they're not pandering. I don't know if that makes sense.
Referential to the books that you read?
Well, no, the Shatner books are sort of co-written, if not ghost-written. They're not ghost written because they have Garfield and Judith Reeves Stevens in the author byline, but there is so much Star Trek lore in those books. It's entertaining, and you can dismiss them if you don't find them canonical or apocryphal, but it's the same kind of thing, and I appreciate it based on the source. But once you get to something like Lower Decks, it's not necessarily. It is. They do reference things, but they are not reverential.
Right.
It's more just like, do you know what a batleth is?
Mm-hmm.
So, but we'll talk about that on Friday. Hey, Jill, are you having a Friday show?
Yes, I think I'm going to have a Friday show, and I think you're going to be there.
I think I am.
Yeah. So, but before we get to that, I wanted to say that next Monday we're going to have our animated series review on Pop Culture Curators channel on Monday at 7 p.m. And we're going to review the Lorelei Signal. We played the trailer for the Lorelei Signal at the beginning of the show, if you want to go see it.
Thank you, Jill.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Pop Culture Curator, for having those shows. And thank you, Jill.
I could do without Jill. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you praise her.
No, she's wonderful, everybody. I couldn't do it without her. her sensibility and her logic and the way she puts everything together, and she's fantastic. So
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate Jill.
And I appreciate everything that you two bring to my reviews.
Oh, I find
It's
it
so
very
amazing.
entertaining. I find it very
Me too.
entertaining. So yeah, thank you. And Scotty, thank you for being there yesterday to help out.
Oh, cheers, bud.
Thank you for showing the trailer, Jill. I still feel bad about what happened. I
No,
forgot
that's
everybody. If
okay.
anybody was there yesterday, I was supposed to show the trailer at the end, and I forgot. I felt like a fool. I get forgetful sometimes, not intentional.
And Scotty, would you like to talk a little bit about your channel?
I would.
Yay.
So tomorrow, at the Phantasmagorium show, that is the Phantasmagorium show. No one can find my channel or our channel. I play with it with my producer Steve and my brilliant co-host Kat. You can find Kat at SlySnide on Twitter. And we have talked about all of the James Bond movies. And we are currently in the midst of a Quentin Tarantino retrospective. This Wednesday, we are going to be discussing Destiny Turns on the Radio, which is not directed by Quentin Tarantino. Get over it. And then on Thursday,
I can't.
whatever.
Sorry.
It's fine. I have fun on that show, and I hope that everyone else does as well. And then on Thursday, we do, or whenever we get to it, because we can, we talk about She-Hulk. And that's when the new episodes drop. But the most exciting thing, which will confuse everyone, is that not this Thursday, but the following Thursday, we are going to be starting a new Quantum Leap retrospective. And the first episode is going to be the first episode of Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah, no, I'm on the show and I'm confused. So yeah, it's a very special thing that's happening on Star Trek Day itself next Thursday, September 8th, on the Phantasmagorian channel at 7 p.m. Central. Scotty and I will be discussing the pilot for Enterprise, Broken Bow, which will be, I think it's a wonderful way to both celebrate Star Trek Day and also sort of have a soft beginning of Quantum Leap.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Because this is basically Sam Beckett's first leap into the future.
Well,
As
and that's
Captain
what
Jonathan
we're trying to sell
Arthur.
it as. That's what we're
Yeah.
trying to sell it as. But like also, this was a collaboration between you and I, Jill, and I'm so happy to have you as my co-host. Is that we're both big Star Trek fans, and I think we came to a consensus that there is no way we could have a show on Star Trek Day and not talk about Star Trek. So let's just treat it like Sam Beckett's first leap.
Yes, that's exactly the way I'd look at it. And
Well, it's funny. Go ahead, Jill. Sorry.
No, go for it.
Well, I was just thinking that I used to watch Quantum Leap when it was new, and then later on in syndication on the Sci-Fi Channel. And a friend of mine and I used to watch it at the same time. We'd visit each other's houses to watch it. And when it was canceled and it said Sam Beckett never returned home, we were saying then it's too bad that they didn't have Star Trek. We were then saying, oh, that would be so nice if he was a captain of a ship. That'd be like the best captain I can imagine. It's too bad they don't do an episode where Sam leaps forward into the future as a captain on the ship. And that's why it was hard to believe. I was really super excited when I heard that he was actually hired to be in Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember reading fan fiction at the onset of the internet, and it was a moment where Sam Beckett leapt into Captain Picard, and Al shows up, and they go with Ziggy, and it's like, how does this work? Like, I remember reading it in the earliest of the BBSs, and it was like, no, this is a Quantum Leap Star Trek thing, and I was like, that doesn't work, because I am such a fan of Quantum Leap. Don't think that I'm just capitalizing on another Scott. I have admired Scott Bakula throughout his career, and I'm just really looking forward to it. But I think that on Star Trek Day, we have to start with a Star Trek story, and it might as well be with the actor who plays Sam Beckett.
It would be wrong to not do so, and I'm glad that we're doing it this way.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Mm-hmm.
So if you do tune in to In the Loop, Quantum Leap retrospective on the Phantasmagorium show, I apologize for the first 10 minutes, which will be an apology to everyone who is looking for a Quantum Leap podcast.
Yes, but we'll explain ourselves and to
And
anybody
apologize.
who and
Yeah.
apologize to anyone who berates us in the comments.
Yes.
So thanks everyone for joining us today. I'll leave everybody with the trailer for next Tuesday's original series review, which will be for Mud's Women. Because that's
Can I ask a
that's
question?
No.
Yes.
Well, first of all, thank you for posting the link to my channel, Joe.
Oh,
But
you're welcome.
my question is, have any of you guys seen the press junket for Star Trek V, where they were on the bridge of the Enterprise, and William Shatner was introducing each of the actors to the press, and he forgot Walter Koenig's name, and that's
And
what caused the rift between them for several years.
Oh my
Is that
god.
what?
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Can I share that? I have
Oh,
it
yeah.
queued up here. It's a minute and
Sure.
30 seconds. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Sure.
All right, yeah, because
And-
it's a great piece of history because it caused a big rift between these two people for a long time. Sorry, go ahead, Scotty.
Well, no, I'd like you to share your thing. Well, it makes more sense. I want to address Son of a Red Shirt, but
Go ahead.
Son of a Red Shirt says, I tried rewatching Quantum Leap a couple of years ago. Wish you the best of luck, Scotty. I'm not saying it to be an asshat, but my memories were a little colored by youth upon rewatch and didn't hold up. They continue, but sincerely, I hope you have a different experience. I loved that show when I was young. It introduced me to Dean Stockwell, and from there, some of Dean Stockwell's fantastic films. And I have casually dropped in on Quantum Leap, but in this day and age with cynical, action-oriented science fiction, there is something that I want in a warm hug or blanket that is just someone wanting to do good for the sake of doing good. And that goes for both Sam and Al. I need my heart to swell. And I remember a lot of it. And I've watched it somewhat recently, within the last 5 to 7 years. And watching it is just something that makes me happy. It makes me believe in the goodness of people. And it's the same reason why I enjoy talking about Star Trek, is that it's not just anger and pew pew and let's fight this guy. It's how are we going to solve this problem and how are we going to make the world better? And that's why I love Quantum Leap. And it's the same reason that I love Star Trek.
Yes,
So,
and I have seen episodes recently, so I know that I still love it from
I still care.
years ago. So
Yeah.
it aged well for me too.
I am fighting my cynicism on a daily basis, and Quantum Leap helps me do that. So does
Nice.
Star Trek.
And I agree about Dean Stockwell's performance. You can't go wrong with him.
Well, and also, shut up, Ziggy. And Son of a Red Shirt goes on to say, Scotty, just to let you know, I have my bell icon clicked to let me know when you're broadcasting, but for some reason it never works. I get the heads up for Jill and Pop, but not you, buddy. Just an FYI. Oh, well, that's probably because of the excessive smoking and drinking that I do on my channel. It tends to subvert the algorithm.
Try maybe unclicking and clicking again. You probably already tried that, right?
Have you tried turning it off and turning it on again?
Did you check to see if it was plugged in?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I appreciate your efforts, Son of a Red Shirt. We will do our best to be more friendly.
Yeah, I noticed that. You don't get as many. You are severely underwatched. One of the most severely underwatched channels. It's nuts.
That is gracious of you. Thank you. Anyway,
Welcome.
Pop Culture Curator, you had a thing that you wanted us to see.
Oh, okay. Are you guys ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay,
Ready,
so this
ready.
is the press junket for Star Trek V, just as it's getting ready to be released, which is ironically right around the same time and the last time I saw William Shatner at the Star Trek convention. So let me share screen here. Hopefully I do this right.
Don't forget to share the sound. Click the box.
I believe it should be clicked. Let me know if you guys can hear it.
Will do.
Hello, Fractured Vision. He says Vic Perrin also voiced Nomad. Oh, Nomad, cool.
Well, that makes
Jackson
sense.
Roy Kirk.
Good morning. Thank you all
All right, can you guys hear that?
Yes.
Perfect. Here we go.
for coming. Behind me, you can
I
barely
wore the
make
same
out
thing to my prom.
my colleagues, and let me not waste an instant and introduce them. Would you open this curtain? There you go. The cast of Star Trek. George Takei.
Well, hello. Good to be here.
Michelle Nichols.
My pleasure, Admiral Captain.
Admiral Captain.
And the gentleman who plays Chekhov.
Walter Koenig. Здравствуйте, товарищи, как поживаете?
Oh, wow.
That was the interested.
He just insulted
Jimmy
him,
Doohan.
by the way, in a different language.
Here
But he's-
stays and was like a sky few and there are deed.
Was he speaking Gaelic?
My friend.
He's dead, Jim.
And a colleague.
This is all terribly logical, isn't it, Captain?
You're all wonderful. Would you come down here and let's drink a toast?
This is the
The,
most cringe. This is the height of Shatner's.
The cast and crew of Star Trek V wishes you all a peaceful, non-polluting, enterprising New Year.
Oh, it's green. How do you like that?
I've seen the full
I
press
do watch
conference, and that is one of the most cringe things that I've ever seen Shatner do. The gentleman who plays Chekhov. Know his name, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, you could. I saw an interview with Koenig later on after that. He insulted Shatner in a different language, in his native language, which I can't remember right now off the top of my head what it is, but he insulted Shatner, and Shatner didn't know that.
Well, it's just
The guy who plays Chekhov. I mean, and that's what Chekhov. That's what Koenig said in the interview. He said after working with him for 20 years, and he didn't know my name.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he did the same thing to, like, it's almost like he tried anyway. Oh, my stars. Don't forget, like, these stories that are presented to us are the culmination of collaboration between so many people. And to give the reins to Bill, oh, Snoop, it becomes sort of Hollywood hubris. It becomes actor ego. And I didn't like that at the height of Star Trek. And it's the same thing that I have an argument with when it comes to Star Trek Picard now. Is I didn't think that Patrick Stewart was going to become the William Shatner of the next generation. But when Picard came out, that's what happened. It wasn't about the fandom. It wasn't about the legacy. It wasn't about the show. It was about the ego of the actor. And I would say that Star Trek Picard is the Star Trek V, The Final Frontier of...
Okay.
I think you said red alert. I think we hear red alert.
Hey,
I know, right?
Jill, which do you like better, Star Trek Picard,
red
or
alert
do you like
symbol.
Star Trek V?
Star
Which
Trek
one is
5
better?
all the way.
Bingo, bango.
But I do admit though, with Shatner, his
Me
ego
too.
was really riding high at the time. It was at its
That's true.
peak, extreme
Well,
peak.
because
Yeah.
Leonard Nimoy got to direct 2 movies, so he wanted to direct one too.
That's exactly what he told Paramount. He says, he had a Me Too clause. They both got paid the same, which was $6 million apiece, by the way.
So what did I miss in the last 45 minutes? I have no idea. You're gonna have to watch it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna end my poll here, and I'm
Thank
in
you.
the poll for the Corbomite Maneuver.
I voted. Like I said, I voted A. Yes, thank you.
A plus.
And we've got 57% gave it an A to an A, 38% gave it a B, 3% gave it a C. So there's one person out there
Oh yeah.
who we need to throw fruit at.
Yeah, we're looking at you, that
No.
one person.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We appreciate it.
I am super jazzed to find out what that person's A plus is.
I know. Exactly, right?
No, that's fine. Yes, we respect all opinions.
Yes, we do. I was just kidding. At least no one gave it a D or an F. And so we had 26 votes for that. So that's great.
Nice.
And today I'll leave you off with the trailer for the next episode for next Tuesday, which will be Men's Women.
Oh, we gotta do one thing first.
What do I have to do?
Is there a storytelling anthology by R.M. Briggs?
Oh yeah, there is a storytelling anthology by R.M. Briggs. Let me put her link in the chat too. Gotta find that because there's an Amazon link to her author page.
I am a big fan of greater creators.
Me too. And I've actually read some of these stories too. They're pretty good. They're pretty great. They're fantastic. If you've been starving for real science fiction, this is how you find it. And yeah, so you're right. I will play Raquel's promo for her science fiction stories. They're kind of like Twilight Zone stories. They're kind of creepy, but they're also very timely. Like she wrote them in 2019, and yet they're so relevant.
Thought-provoking?
Yeah. They're great.
Oh, it's all slapstick and eye pokes. I kid.
Is it okay if I shout out my channel real quick, Jill?
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Hello, everybody. If you enjoyed what you saw today, the review of TOS, I have monthly reviews Monday reviews every Monday, obviously, with Jill for the animated series. If you can join us, that'd be great. It's on my channel. I have another video that'll be coming up titled "Who is the Father of Star Trek?" If you'd like to find out, stay tuned and click the notification bell on my channel. Thank you, Jill.
You're welcome. Yes, please do.
Oh, and also big shout out to Cinema Gulp.
Yeah.
Not even remotely Star Trek related. Just a friend of mine that I wanted to
say.
Does
he ever talk about Star Trek ever?
No.
No.
Nah.
Well,
just a friend of mine. Sorry.
But he likes punk rock. So
he does. He's like, yeah.
Okay, so
if you enjoy the Quentin Tarantino reviews that we do on the Phantasmagorium, he has been doing it for longer and better than we have over there.
Cool. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers, everybody. Live long and prosper.